When
You think I would willingly come onto the show and watch you spew your BS about Wilt Chamberlain? I didn't ask for this, okay?
I told you.
I'm getting internal bleeding from these terrible, cancerous opinions of yours, okay? 3 and 4 blocks.
Johnny, but I gotta...
Later, dude. That's okay. I don't need you here to speak my facts.
I'll be here to listen.
My man said 42.
Okay, first of all,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. I don't know where I am on the screen because I didn't ask before we started recording.
Dario has it right. Dario has it right.
I knew that I was the bottom bitch.
Am I at the top?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, this way, is Dario at the very bottom?
Oh.
Or is he, is he how it usually is?
Yep. Johnny's in the middle.
Yeah, that works. All right, so at the very bottom is Dario Albuquerque, right?
See.
In the middle, once again, for a very special episode of Apex Greatness, is Johnny Arnett, a man who knows a thing or two about the man on our screen, and which is why we're here, Wilt Chamberlain. How we doing? How we doing today? How we feeling?
Johnny, I got a question. Do you treat this as like your birthday?
Treat
the
Listen, this was your guys' idea. You invited me on. You asked me to be here. Okay, I get lumped into like this Wilt Chamberlain worshiper, but I keep getting lumped into these discussions, and just because I'm willing to, they're like, "Oh, you've been savoring this moment, haven't you?" It's like,
so what really happened was Johnny texted us and said, "Hey, for my birthday, can we do?" Wilt Chamberlain.
What's today's day? Yeah,
no one knows the truth, Johnny. They can't tell.
Okay, February. Whatever. It's my birthday.
February 21st. It's the 21st.
That's now canon. This is because it's on YouTube.
Imagine moving forward, like everyone thinks that they will.
Yeah. Amazing. But years from now, I'm going to forget this. I'm going to be like, why is everybody wishing me a happy birthday on the 21st of February?
This is going to be like when everybody wished Kevin Durant a happy birthday when he was in Team USA and it wasn't his birthday. You remember that?
That's great. I do remember that, yeah.
I almost forgot. Off camera is the fairy pod mother, Lindsay Lehman.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Oh, yeah.
I think she forgot herself, too.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, yeah,
care
hi.
less. Couldn't care less if she's introduced. Amazing. But we are here because, by the time you guys see this, it is the 60th anniversary of the highest scoring game in NBA history. Wilt Chamberlain dropped 100 on my favorite team, the New York Knicks.
I was about to say, really? I was like, I didn't know. Is it on the Celtics?
No. Fucking dropped 100 points on the Knicks on March 2nd, 1962. And he also, during this season, he had a bunch of scoring records. Obviously, most points in a season. He averaged 50 points per game this year. 25 rebounds, right? Most 50-point games in a season, most consecutive 50-point games, which is part of, I know he has like 4 straight 50-point games on his way to 100, almost 4 straight 60-point games, but most 40-point games, most consecutive 40-point games. This has to be the most minutes played in a season, right?
It is.
Because he did not miss not one. Look at this. All 48, 48, 48.
But I think they just round during the, like, I don't think you ever see one that's like not like 0.24 or whatever.
He did miss a little bit of time, but it wasn't, it was because he was ejected. And so that was the only time he missed that season. Otherwise, he played every single minute.
Well, it all starts with his new coach that year, Frank McGuire. He had a great deal of belief in my ability, and he instilled that belief into the team, and he actually put me in a position to have maybe the greatest single season that I think a basketball player could possibly ever have.
Frank McGuire had two rules. The offense always went through Wilt, and Wilt never left the floor.
In an 80-game season, he played 79 complete games. He missed 8 minutes of one game because it got thrown out. Other than that, he played every moment of every one of those games.
That was inconceivable to us. How the hell do you stay so strong all season? How do you avoid fouling out? How do you take a beating every night with guys pushing you, punching you, grabbing you, and come back the next night fresh as a daisy? How the hell do you do this, Wilt?
I was going to say ejected, not fouled out. Very important distinction.
Right,
if you ask Wilt, fucking A.
Did he ever foul out?
So that was a thing for him. That was like and it was something that Bill Simmons talked about it in his book when he was doing the Russell and Chamberlain thing. But essentially, there were times. What finals was it where they were like, or it wasn't the finals, but it was might have been the conference finals where they have the Havlicek play is the part of the reason why that was able to happen is because Havlicek knew Wilt had 5 fouls and he was not going to fucking foul out of the game. It was not going to happen. Wilt had like what could be described today as straight up anxiety about fouling out. Like I don't think he ever fouled out of a professional game. Am I wrong, Johnny? Maybe one.
I would have to fact check, but I know that he's known for like almost never fouling out. So I'd have to double check to see if he never actually fouled out of a game. But if he did, it was very, very few instances. I think he just had like a severe case of FOMO because between him never like fouling out ever and him wanting to play every single minute he ever could, he just did not like being on the bench at all.
It's so crazy because like, especially the 48-minute thing, and we're going to talk about that when we bring them to today, which is why we are here. But it's crazy because no one's done it before. No one had done it before him, and no one's really I don't know anybody who tried to do it since with the 48 minutes. Nobody in his era was doing that.
Every single game, you're saying?
Every game at minimum for a whole season. But like Johnny was saying, if you look at his first 5 seasons here, nothing less than 46 minutes a game. He was trying his hardest to play every fucking minute. He wanted to be on the floor the whole time. And I'm pretty sure the first coach he had in Philly was just like, fuck it, give him the ball every time. Like, it doesn't matter. Just give it to him. He'll score. Who cares? A win's a win, essentially.
And Bill Russell, I mean, if you look at the highest career minutes per game averages per game, it's Wilt Chamberlain, and just trailing him is Bill Russell. They're the top 2. I think Allen Iverson is 3, which makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Don't quote me on that. But part of me wonders how much of Bill Russell's insane minutes was because, you know, how much of that was just Wilt Chamberlain was out there all the time. Because they back then they played each other like 15 times, you know, a year in the early 60s. And so that can affect his averages too if he definitely doesn't want to go out because Wilt might be going off while Bill Russell's on the bench. So he's feeling that pressure too to stay out there and compete with them. So I felt do
you think it's like, and kind of like what you're saying, but do you think it's like Wilt setting that standard almost? Because even when they're not playing each other, do you think it's just
yeah, from a competitive standpoint, I feel like part of that's the standard that they're setting. But I also think that, you know, it's the culture that they're around and the narrative of, you know, what's the strong thing to do? What's the athletic thing to do? And it's to play as many minutes as you can. And even in the 80s, they had some of that. Larry Bird has a famous quote where he's like, if you're paid to go to work and you're expected to go to work, you go to work. And that's why he just played through injuries and such. Sure. And now that's not the mentality. The mentality is if you're playing through injuries, you could be ruining your career and you're not taking care of your future. And so people could see that as weakness, but in their mind, they're just looking out for themselves and for their future. And so I think that was part of it. Is back then it was that competitive rivalry between the two of them. And he probably did have a great sense of pride in the fact that he's always out there. He's always playing. And to be fair, we praise him for it to this day. I talk about his stamina, endurance, his ability to do that.
To add to that, I also think like teams are starting to look at it as they're preserving their players more now than before as well, with just like technology and like the knowledge now that you don't want to run them to the ground during the regular season and then they die out. They kind of
flame out in epic fashion.
Flame out in the play. Yeah, like James Harden's a perfect example.
Or like Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, because to be fair, it was always Bill Russell who was surpassing him in the playoffs, and maybe I wasn't there to see it, but maybe he was getting weary in the postseason a little bit. It's tough to say.
But in honor of the 60th anniversary of Wilt Chamberlain scoring the 100-point game, we are going to bring 1961-62 Wilt Chamberlain, a man who, as I just spoke about, shattered all kinds of NBA records, that a lot of which still stand to this day. And we're going to bring him to today's game, to the 21-22 NBA season. And we're going to put him on a shit team, a team just outside of a play-in tournament team, right? And then a team at the top of the conference. It could be East, could be West. That's what we're going to decide today. So before we do this, because we were right on the topic of talking about minutes, do you think a team do you think he gets 40 minutes a game if he comes to today? Like, what does that look like on any of these teams? Because I feel like you guys are right. I don't think he plays 48 minutes in today's NBA.
What's the max of players playing right now? Like 38?
So right now, it's a good question. Who is leading league in minutes?
This year is kind of weird though, because there's a bunch
Fred VanVleet. I'm pretty sure he's leading it in minutes.
Let's see. It is Toronto. It's two guys on Toronto. Fred VanVleet, Siakam, the much maligned James Harden.
Yeah.
A lot of guys on Toronto. That's interesting.
I could see him averaging 40 minutes a game and it not being that big of a deal. Especially,
you think a coach lets that happen?
Yeah, like if he's on the Knicks, 100%.
Yeah, well, for sure. Apparently, if he's on the Raptors, for sure.
Well, here's the thing. There's what I was saying. My original point with the minutes is it was a little bit of the culture and the influence, and what they believe is the way athletes should carry themselves and how many minutes they should play. Yeah. But with that being said, like nobody was playing all 48 minutes. And Wilt actually said to his coach, like when they were discussing minutes, and he was just coming into the league as a rookie. Yeah. And he said, how many minutes do you want to play? And he said, I never want to sit. And he just straight up told him, I never want to sit. And the coach said in an interview, he was like, so he never sat. Like he just took it and met, and because at the time, he was one of the most hyped rookies, coming into the league. Everybody knew that he was going to tear this league up. So they were just going to give him whatever they want. Yeah. And now, with the league ran the way that it is, I feel like players have more power than ever before. So
for sure.
Part of me feels like I wouldn't want to change his minutes. I'm going all 48 because if Wilt wanted it back then, I feel like I would have to change his person, change his, beliefs, in order to make him fit into a minutes restriction, And it's like, no, I want Wilt for what he was known for. Like, yeah, maybe he would have been influenced otherwise. But if we're truly getting 1962 Wilt, that was his mindset. So
my bad. You see, I could understand that. I think it depends on what team he goes to, though. Because, maybe one of the crappier teams that we pick, or the lower level teams.
The lower seeded squads?
Yeah, lower seeded squads. Maybe he might have that kind of say, but I don't know if he would have the say in like whatever top team we pick, and maybe even middle team. as well.
Sure, it might change to the coaching staff in making that decision, but it's not changing Wilt's mind. It doesn't matter what team he's on. He wants all of them.
No, I feel that.
Yeah,
for sure. So the way we look at we try to look at it, at least with how this kind of should work out, is it's Wilt Chamberlain in 69, or right? That was 69?
61, 62.
61, 62.
You were only 7 years off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Sometime in the 60s, It's Wilt Chamberlain's mindset, everything, and you put him in one of these teams.
Yeah.
That Wilt Chamberlain, where he was at in his career at that point.
Yeah.
To your point, like that mindset is not going to change. It should be. I want to play every minute.
To your point, this is also not a Wilt Chamberlain that just dunks either. This is a guy who's got a post game. He's flying all over the court. He's occasionally taking the ball full court himself, up and down. Like, I saw him doing a lot of that sort of thing, especially in the early part of his career. So he's got a crazy offensive game, and I'm interested to see how it translates to this era. So let's start with a terrible team. Let's go any team 11 and down, like 11 and down here. What do we like? What do we hate? Where do we want to put them? Any nominees?
Then obviously the Knicks kind of work out with his mentality.
Who do they have in terms of like? So they have Mitchell Robinson, right? In terms of like big men, right?
Yeah, I mean, and they have Julius Randle,
and they have Randle.
Forward. Yeah,
forward.
I could also see Thibodeau going along with the 48 minutes. Like,
so that's one of the few coaches that absolutely would, because he has if you look at Jimmy Butler's Bulls career, Luol Deng, there's always a guy for Tibbs that plays a psychotic amount of minutes by our standards.
Yep.
So if he had Mitchell Robinson, but Mitchell Robinson could do everything, could do the opposite. Like, Mitchell Robinson is strictly like a rim runner, essentially in today's game. And I think if you replace him with Wilt, it could work. It could work. Kemba's on this team. They have a couple of guys they have a bunch of guys that can stretch the floor. Lots of guys shooting threes.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I don't hate that. I wanted to see, there was one.
OKC.
So that's where we put Michael Jordan. We put 80s Jordan on Oklahoma City, and we had him getting around 40 points a game for them.
Because we're adding the 3-point shooting, I think his free throws, he's still going to get his 10 a game.
Yeah.
If he's making a 3 or 2, I'm going to give him about maybe like 43, 44. I'm not even mad at 45 points.
Wow. Different, but under the basket, they could do way more in the 80s. So I think he's going to get fouled way more in this era for that reason. And that's what puts me around 40. I think he'll be right at 40 a game. Because
of the free throws?
Because I think the free throws make the biggest difference over the threes. For me.
So how many more free
and there's so much opportunity here for Wilt, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of spots where they need somebody who is going to dominate and take over. And that's why I like setting it up this way, where we do bad teams, okay teams, and then great teams, because these bad teams, they need so much more. And it's interesting. Yeah. Usually you can get a bigger statistical output from this situation.
Yeah. I kind of like OKC though too, because I feel like there's a couple players there from a facilitating standpoint that would complement Wilt Chamberlain well.
True.
They would go along with that feeding the big man type thing, and they'd be good at it. So,
yeah. And they got Lou Leonard there, so that matters a lot.
Lou who?
Lou Leonard.
Lou Dort.
No, Lou Leonard. Is his real name.
You said it correctly.
He's the I'm telling you now. Remember this day, Johnny.
Okay.
He's Kawhi Leonard.
Well, it's my birthday, so I probably will. So.
Oh yeah. Lou Dort is gonna be the next Kawhi Leonard. Believe it.
Lou Dort has a big butt. That's all I can say about that.
Oh my god.
Man has a chunky butt.
You're quite observant, Russell.
He has a chunky butt. It will be on your screen. The chunky butt will be on your screen.
No, don't do that.
What? Why?
Absolutely not.
It's on your screen, and
someone flag it.
I control the edit, so that's what's happening. Anyways.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whoever is watching the video for flags and like demons, whatever.
Don't tell them to flag your own content, you fool.
Yeah, screw that. Flag that.
No, people will listen. People will troll and listen to you. Fucking. How do you think Pop would handle somebody like Will?
I think it's more so how would Will react to a Pop system. I feel like he'd be horrible.
You think he'd be horrible?
Yeah,
horrible is a strong
100%.
word.
This Will, horrible.
I don't know.
That mindset, he's too hard-headed to wanna play under a system and not be the guy.
They're both hard-headed. I think it ends in an ugly divorce. I think that's
okay. I thought you said you're both. I thought you were calling me hard-headed, Johnny. I'm like,
no.
You don't have to call me. You know?
No. Popovich and Wilt Chamberlain, they're extremely hard-headed. I mean, he loves just a team game, ball movement, all that sort of thing, and just. I don't know, because Wilt embraced that at a certain point in his career, like around 66, 67.
Yeah.
And a part of that was his own, aspirations to prove the narrative wrong that I can't get my teammates involved. All he knows how to do is score. And he's like, well, I'll lead the league in assists. But he's not there yet. We're still at 61, 62 Wilt. And I just don't know if that's going to work with. If we were doing 1967 Wilt, I would say this could work. But I think at this point, he's younger. He just wants to score. I don't know.
And even that Wilt was like, dude, if you don't make this fucking shot, you're fucking up my assists.
Yeah. Like that's what I was gonna say. Like
on his team.
I felt like he only did that mainly to it was like external reasons, not really because he felt like that would make him better. I felt like it was just more so to prove everyone wrong rather than that's gonna make his team better overall.
Hey, I know a guy
No
who you're wearing right now who who was very into proving people wrong in similar ways.
No, not like that. Absolutely not. Kobe changed. Yo, don't do that. Now you're gonna get me started. Kobe changed to make his team better. Like that's a fact. Like,
are you gonna watch that at any point?
No, I'm watching. So this is the reason I'm wearing this, for anybody who knows. You probably saw. Well, you haven't seen this yet because you're not gonna see this for another 3 weeks. But
you will.
I'm wearing this jersey again. This is the second time I'm wearing it, not the first. But it's gonna look like the first because of how the videos thing. But this is not getting washed for the next 8 weeks. I just got this last week.
The second of 100 consecutive episodes that you'll be wearing this fucking jersey.
Now you're inhaling it. What are you doing,
It smells
dude?
like New Jersey. It's that New Jersey smell. You know that, Johnny. Come on.
I know that New Jersey smell, but you can't say, I'm not going to wash it for 8 weeks and then be like
2 times. It don't even smell like that. And I'm not even sweating on it because I'm wearing a shirt under. It's working out. Don't worry about it.
Bad setup.
But Lou Dort's Chucky buzz too much. Anyways,
yeah, it is. That's like just unnecessarily.
The last team I want to bring up in this discussion is a team that just lost a big center in Sabonis, which is the Indiana Pacers. They obviously they have Miles Turner here, but adding Wilt to this team that already knows how to use a big man, has a guy who's diverse. They got Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton. I feel like Wilt could come into this team and immediately set the tone. Like just another team that he could come in, instantly make an impact, and fill a hole that I think they have. They like in today's game. I think that's what this Pacer team is missing. Because Miles Turner, he blocks shots and he does. He's okay. I don't know. He's always been a guy that's like on the cusp of being really, really good, and it just kind of hovers around mediocrity. And I don't know. I think Wilt here could work, and
I don't see him as the kind of big man either who's going to, be extremely frustrated if he's not playing the center position. Like he could be power forward. He could even play smaller if he wanted to, and it could work. And so moving him, like having Wilt just anchor the paint there, I don't see as being a problem.
Yeah, because he shoots threes, right? Yeah, he makes a 3.5 a game. Yeah, so he can step outside. To your point, that's true. I don't hate that either. So we got
a much better rim protector, right?
Than
anyone they currently have.
Yes,
might
definitely
be a much better rim protector than anyone ever, but that might be a different conversation.
Turner's getting 3 blocks a game for them. Like he's like very like we were saying, he's kind of I feel like he's had a couple of years now where he's put up at least 2.5 blocks a game. 2-time block champion. So he's in there. But yeah, to Johnny's point, Wilt, here we go. So do we want to use the Pacers before I even start busting out stats?
I don't know if this is going to work though, because don't they have MJ on this squad?
we're keeping previous rosters from previous videos.
You're getting me fucking confused with these names that aren't these people's names. It's throwing me off. I'm like, who the
What's my
fuck
guy's
is
name?
MJ? I see TJ McConnell. Is that what he means?
No, you know who I'm talking
confused.
about. What's my guy that was wilding in the bubble?
Fucking oh my god. Now his name's escaping me.
Because of this stupid like mid-season trade, there's like 80 people on the roster.
Yeah,
switch.
Basketball reference.
MJ Warren is who you're referring to.
MJ Warren, yeah. You remember that? Remember when he was wilding in the bubble? He was a bubble warrior.
I remember that.
That might be in trouble. Like him and Wilt might, he might be like, this is my team. I'm running this. MJ. All right, whatever.
Yeah, and he gets cut like 5 minutes afterwards because they can clearly say that Wilt's better. I don't see a problem there.
Or they try to fight
jokes.
each other. And
I got this. I'm ready.
The ground. You're ready. So what do you guys like? We started with the Knicks. We talked about a couple of these teams. Where do we want to put them for this?
What about the Pelicans? So listen to this. I know it sounds weird because of the Zion thing, but Zion's not really playing. That's fine. He's never going to really play. So Wilt could replace Zion, and now you just got CJ McCollum, who's like wilding for respect right now.
Yeah,
pretty much averaging like 38 and 5. You're going to tone that down a little bit. You're going to be shooting his threes. He's going to have shooters around them.
Yeah.
And then they could be the team that everybody like they should be.
But they got Jonas. Jonas is nice. I like Jonas.
Jonas is pretty solid. Yeah,
he could be a forward.
I'm enjoying him.
He could be, but he's I don't know. I'd rather see. I feel like he's not a guy that can move too much. Like he's a thick man down there. He's like, I think he might be one of the most underrated centers in the league. Like by a pretty good
and where he has played.
Averaging 18 and 11 and a half, like, and he was great for Memphis last year too. I like Jonas, but I get what you're saying with the guys. Definitely the talent surrounding him. They still have Brandon Ingram down there. Josh Hart. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. But I see where you're going with it. I didn't mind the Knicks because I like the Tibbs aspect of it. I just think
I don't mind whichever one.
It's like I don't give a shit.
I don't really care. I don't really care.
I don't give a flying fuck about any of this. All right.
I just thought that Wilt would be a great replacement for Zion.
It's like that was just to dig at Zion.
No. It's because he could like do similar things, better things than what Zion could do, right? And he'll be there forever. 48 minutes instead of playing injured. With a broken knee every couple. Yeah, that's my thing.
He will be available. The best ability is availability. Is what you're trying to go.
Facts. And giving you 50 pieces.
Do we want to do the Knicks, the Pacers, or OKC? Because I feel like those were the 3 teams where we were like,
put them on the Knicks. Put them on the Knicks. Yeah, because I like the Tibbs thing, but also he just made a living destroying the Knicks, and seeing that he gave the Knicks 100 points on this day, like, let's put him on the Knicks. You know?
I like that. That's solid reason.
Yeah.
So, who wants to go first? What do we see a stat line for Wilt Chamberlain on the 2022 New York Knickerbockers?
Go ahead, Dario. I'll let you start off.
There you go.
I got you. My man Wilt. I'm going to go.
Tick-tock. Tick-tock.
I'm going to go. I'm trying to think of how Wilt's going to play. How it's going to. Let's go 26 and 12.
Okay.
With three assists.
3
and
assists.
Like 3 blocks.
Okay. I don't. And
what this is all right. So Johnny, before you even start your whole Wilt Chamberlain, oh my God, I love him. This is my birthday thing. Wait, you cannot act like Wilt Chamberlain is gonna be putting up 30 plus just because like he's playing against way better big men than he was playing against back then.
How many minutes is he playing for you? Like 16? Like how many minutes is Wilt Chamberlain playing for you?
You think he's gonna average 26 and 60 minutes? You crazy? I'm gonna go. He's probably gonna average about 40 minutes. I'm giving him the 40 minutes.
Okay, dude. I'll
he's
wait
gonna
my
have
turn.
to do so much more.
I'll wait my turn.
He said, "I will wait."
I'll wait my turn.
You got 20. So you said 26, 12. What's he shooting, Dario? What's he shooting? What's a field goal percentage?
Oh, Will's shooting like 56% from the field.
Okay.
Easy. That's easy money too. Like I might be like low balling it.
I feel like
all he's gonna be shooting is his little stupid finger roll layups and dunking it sometimes.
I know, even though I just said he's got more of an offensive game.
Johnny, I told you.
God forbid anybody's listening.
When you text us, Johnny, and
you're not texting.
I told you.
When you think I would willingly come onto the show and watch you spew your BS about Wilt Chamberlain? I didn't ask for this, okay?
I told you.
I'm getting internal bleeding from these terrible, cancerous opinions of yours, okay? All right, 26 and 12?
Time out.
You should bring up the centers in the NBA today. Look at guys who are averaging around those numbers. And I'm like, that's it? We're talking about prime.
Yeah. Put the centers up right now. Give me Joel Embiid over prime Wilt Chamberlain.
Here we go.
Actually, I don't know.
Joel Embiid respects Wilt Chamberlain more than you do.
I'm not going to lie. The only thing with Joel Embiid is his tummy aches. If he didn't have the tummy aches, I would be having Joel Embiid over Wilt Chamberlain. But let's go.
Gets that right from Fox Sports. Fucking A.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, according to Dario, is going to be averaging 3 more rebounds a game than Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay. And this is my thing. This is the only thing. I agree. I might have lowballed him a little bit because I gave him 12, right? 12?
Yeah.
You have 26 and 12.
My only thing is that you also have Julius Randle there who's averaging 10 rebounds currently. So I'm thinking his rebounds probably going to go down to 7-ish. Like, that was more so my thing. I would, if he didn't have a Julius Randle there, I would easily say 15, 16 rebounds easily. So Joel Embiid's averaging pretty much 30 and 11, right?
Yeah.
But Joel Embiid is alone. He's alone right now.
33 minutes. So again, I'll go back to my first question. How many minutes is Wilt Chamberlain playing on this Knicks team?
Yeah.
But look at, all right, so Joel Embiid is not shooting 4 threes a game. Is Wilt Chamberlain shooting 4 threes a game? That matters in your... No, he's not, right? The 33 minutes also include 4 threes in that 33. You could understand how that kind of gets to you.
He makes 1 3 per game. That's 1 point. That's 1 extra point per game.
Like
for
1 or 2.
1 or 2. That's not going to ruin Wilt.
He makes 2 every 3 games. He makes 2 every 3 games.
Fine, we'll round it up from 1.3 to 2, so you get your 2 points every game.
That's 6 points in... That matters.
In 3 games?
Hold on. I think there's something else we need to talk about while we're looking at the general stat sheet. So Joel's putting up 11.3 free throws a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wilt in 61-62 is getting 17.
Right.
That's not happening now.
How are you sure? I feel like how many free throws do you think Shaq shoots in this era?
Like,
I think it's up there.
We can't. All right, so
especially if with his terrible percentage, I think he's going to get the hack of Shaq stuff for sure. Like, he's going to rack up free throws. I just don't know if it's going to be, I feel like 15 is a big number.
How many more free throws are teams shooting now versus when Shaq played or versus when Wilt played? It's probably not that significant.
Well, when Shaq was in his prime, he was averaging about 12 free throw attempts per game. It was in that ballpark. And with the pace of play accelerating, there's going to be probably 10 more possessions, I would guess, per game. So I would give him 14 to 15 free throws per game tops for Shaq. That's what I do. He's getting a few more, but it's not a tremendous amount.
Yeah, and isn't Wilt the season Wilt drop 50? Isn't that like the highest pace season in NFL history, NBA history?
They don't have the pace of play that far back, but you can kind of assume that because the pace of play only gets faster and faster as you get towards the 70s.
Yeah,
and going along with that is also the points per game. And if you go back and watch some of those games, it's kind of insane. It looks like Mike D'Antoni was coaching both teams. Yeah. Well, it's not even just like track race, but they're so quick to shoot because, I mean, without a 3-point line and everybody clogging up the middle, there's a lot of guards and stuff who are just like, I got an open perimeter jump shot. And they're just taking it within seconds. And so, yeah, it was really, really fast. Plus there's the 48 minutes. So
I got you. It's much, much more in the 61-62, going along with kind of everything that we.
Yeah, see, they don't have the pace, but with the points, with the field goal attempts, with the free throws, it's only fair to assume that was fast as well.
Yeah, I would say well over 100 for sure.
So they were blowing their whistle significantly more when Wilt was playing, right? So that's why I'm saying, let's give him the 14. Whatever you want to do. 14, he's shooting 50%. Is he shooting 50%?
60. He's shooting 60. Yeah. I got you.
60% from the free throw line?
61.
No.
Yes.
61? Okay. So we give him 14. He's making about 8 of them. Sure.
That was Wilt's best season for the free throw line, too. His highest scoring season.
For sure.
Look, I'm giving him the best of the best. And I'm giving him 26. I'm not mad if it's 26 to 30. I'm definitely not going past 30. I'm not going past like 31, 30. I don't think so because you have other scorers on that team, and there's no. If that's the case, they're gonna do worse. I think I'm thinking of what he's gonna have to do for that team to make them more of a contender, more of a playoff team kind of thing. That's how I'm looking at it, and I'm assuming. Because he's happy with how the coach is going to allow him to play, give him his minutes and stuff, he's going to work with the team and try to figure it out. Because he's also super competitive, wants to make the playoffs. He's not going to be able to do it by himself, especially not in this league. But maybe back in the 60s when you were playing against Billy Joel from the other corner who was like who fixed pipes and stuff and all that. But when you're playing against professional basketball players, you're not gonna be able to just average your 50 and 25 and think you're gonna get to the conference finals and face Bill Russell. You're not doing that here, buddy.
If I ever find all 7 Dragon Balls, I'm gonna wish Nate Thurmond to come back to life so that 6'10" monster can beat the hell out of you. Okay,
you are
disrespecting.
No, but you gotta make.
But that's like 30 games between him and Bill Russell. I don't need to mention other guys. I could, but I don't need to.
That's cool, man. But what I'm saying is you could average that. Like you could do that, but you're not gonna do that on a nightly basis and think this is my all right. Time out. But all jokes aside, you were facing Bill Russell every single day, and you were also facing those Celtics. And guess what? You lost, right? You wanna know why? Because the Celtics had a better team. My thing is you're gonna also have similar things. Like you're facing Joel Embiid. Right now, his team ain't really there, but when he has Harden and all this other stuff, when he has Harden to help him out, you're going to face Joel Embiid every night, but then you're also going to have to deal with James Harden possibly putting up 30. Like, you need to let your other – that's my thing. I'm not saying he can't if he was just, I'm going to go nut, I'm going to try to dominate. Maybe he could average 50, but he won't win.
I got Wilt doing probably – I think he probably gets more rebounds than that in this era, right? I can see a world, especially in the Knicks that are very defensive oriented, like grit and grind, and like they absolutely have games where they're holding teams under like 45% shooting or whatever. Like there's going to be lots of opportunities for Wilt to get rebounds. So I think he's probably getting 15 for a rebounding standpoint. From scoring, I feel like that's
even with Randall there.
See, that's the thing. I feel like it depends, because if they tell Julius, "Hey, Wilt's here. You're shooting more threes now," then I don't think he ends up getting as many rebounds. Like if they go 4 out and then have Wilt in the center, because Randall shoots threes. Like all these guys shoot threes except for Wilt, so they could do that.
Yeah, but
and that would
only
clear
like two offensive rebounds a game. That's the only time that will matter.
What?
The 3-point shooting. It doesn't stop you from getting rebounds.
It's going to stop, but it's also like he's not going to be guarding the guy right underneath the basket, Randall. It's going to be Wilt. So it's just going to be more opportunities for that big fuck to take all the rebounds. But from scoring, what are they averaging as a team this season? What is it? Because it's under 100, right? For the
what do you mean? Points?
So 105 points a game.
Yeah.
I knew it was close because they're near the bottom. So if Wilt,
I don't think anyone's averaging under 100 this era.
Yeah. I don't think for this season either. But I just had to make sure because I knew it wasn't like 120 or something where it could you could squeak in some more points for Wilt. But I definitely think he turns this Knicks team into a playoff contender. Like it's probably a top 6 seed easily for this because you have a guy that's giving you. I think he could get to the 30 number. I think there's a universe where that happens for sure. It just depends on the free throws. It really depends on how many free throw attempts he can get.
Dario's face palming over 30.
Yeah,
you're face palming over 30.
What he does.
Oh, I can't wait to see your reaction.
Yeah,
when I give mine. Oh man.
I think he probably. I'm cool with the 3 blocks. I think he's all over the place. The 40 minutes makes sense. He's probably. I wonder. It really does. The point total to me in each team that we bring him to is going to depend on how he's officiated. Like if the refs swallow their whistles on him because he's what they did with Shaq. If they do that, then it's going to be more of a problem. But if they're like, oh my God, people are just climbing all over this fucking guy. They're using him like a jungle gym. Then he'll be taking more free throws, and that will ultimately help his point total.
How much does Wilt weigh at this point? Like my whole thing with Shaq, we've mentioned Shaq was like a baby bear. Well,
Wilt is
medium-sized bear.
Wilt is by all accounts the strongest player to ever play in the league.
Yeah, but
he definitely got stronger later in his career, though.
Yeah.
At this time, I feel like he's much more slimmer. And
he's a lean muscle, but
there's no way he's bigger than Joel Embiid right now.
He's probably close to that though. Like I
don't think he's 280. I don't think Wilt Chamberlain was 280.
So they only have him at one freaking weight here.
Yeah, I think he was probably like 260. Probably
he was 275 on Basketball Reference. But I don't know if I don't know if you can say that's how he was in the early 60s.
62. You could just even see it on the tapes. He was just much slimmer back then. I would guess probably a 260 back then.
Yeah, that's fair. What is Joel's?
And Embiid 7'2", 280. Mm-hmm. He's the biggest. He's probably gonna be And they're not officiating Embiid like they officiate.
Okay. I'm gonna make my case to Dario though.
Yeah.
Because you can't make too much about weight, right? Because LeBron's like what 260, and Kobe's like 210. But we all know 1-on-1 Kobe's torching LeBron. Like we know this, right? Are you going to agree with me? That's 50 pounds. That's 50 pounds. All right, there you go.
But time out. No. Time out. One. The only difference between that Kobe and LeBron thing, or even if you're doing the Kobe and Wilt, is that skill. That skill Kobe got is out of the world compared to what Wilt got. But keep on.
Wilt definitely has a better post game at this point in time. Same thing if we're talking about his weight and then you're giving him credit for. That's for sure.
Okay, no. No, that's not what I'm saying. All right.
It's not about what you're saying. You are saying these things as well as the things you're trying to say.
I gave him 26 and 12. That's literally like Joker. Like Joker's walding right now. He's an MVP candidate. Joker. That's what I'm saying. He's an MVP candidate, and you're making it seem like I said Wilt is going to be freaking Andre Drummond.
Hey,
like
I didn't say that. I didn't say nothing. I didn't go like this or nothing. None of that happened to me.
Oh, I did all of this.
Yeah, he did
still just waiting for my
But I'll let you say your thing. I'll let you
go, Johnny,
make your case, Johnny. I apologize.
Well, give me a stat line, Russell. Did you give me an official stat line?
I got 30, 15, 3 blocks. Shooting 55 or higher %.
How many assists?
Who cares?
Yeah, it's a who cares number.
At this stage of the game, who cares? But I'll say 3 for shits and giggles.
Yeah. All right. He's putting up. I just want to get to the stat line first and explain myself afterward. He's putting up 42, 17, 3, and 4 blocks.
Johnny, but I gotta...
Later, dude. That's okay. I don't need you here to speak my facts.
I'll be here to
My man said 42.
Okay, first of all, I've already established, you haven't established what your minutes are, I think because you know your argument falls apart the minute you say it. I've established, he's going to play 48 minutes. You 40 minutes? Did he say 40, Russell?
I said 40.
All right.
Russell you never get Russell crap about. He didn't get most of his stats, and you give me. You just attacking me.
I didn't. I assumed we were doing.
I'll go after Russell next. Anyway,
go for it.
So, no, he's playing 48 minutes. Now, if you take a lot of these guys and you put it on a per 48 minutes, do you know how ridiculous all of these guys' stats get? Everybody's numbers get insane. Like, look at Giannis, look at Jokic, look at Embiid. They all get ridiculous if you take it on a per 48-minute basis.
Yeah, 48.
You might have to go to StatMuse for that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I was trying to think about that.
Can I just say one thing while we pulling that up? Johnny, I know you. You're not. You know that's not accurate. Like, you don't just take this person's stats, multiply it by 2, whatever he would have averaged in 36 minutes, you do it at 48, and then that's what it's at. You know for sure the player's going to get tired. The player's not going to... Like Giannis, we've seen Giannis looks great when you bring it out to the 48 minutes, but when Giannis plays the 40 minutes, he looks gassed.
Yeah,
like we saw that in the playoffs.
That's not a Wilt thing. That's a Giannis thing. I mean, Giannis plays like 30 minutes, his greatest season ever. He was playing like 30 minutes a game. But there's guys in the league right now that are playing near 40 minutes a game, and they're not looking gassed. I mean, part of me feels like that's more of a Giannis thing than, like, you can't use that as an indictment on Wilt. He was playing 48 minutes out there, and he was a track athlete. That's got to count for something.
Yeah, for sure. The athleticism should translate. That's something, actually, I'm glad you specifically brought that up. His athleticism should absolutely translate into today's game more than any of his other attributes and qualities. That freakish vertical speed, like, he should fit right in with some of the best athletes. He should be either the best athlete or one of the 5 best athletes in the sport.
Sure.
In this era. I would feel very comfortable saying that. And I think that that obviously helps with things like stamina, etc.
So he's a one of a kind athlete. He's still got the jumping power. I'm not going to say he's like by far the strongest player in the league, but remember, if we're bringing Wilt to this timeline, he does have the benefits of being in this timeline. He's going to have better trainers. There's so much stuff he didn't have being in the 60s. Like, the 60s was a totally different world. Yeah. And so he's going to be able to benefit off of those with the minutes. Russell. I feel like Russell knows what I'm talking about, but Wilt was so much more skilled than I believe you're giving him credit for, because you said he's going to be, you did say this, he's going to be just finger rolling a bunch.
Yeah, you did say that.
The dude had an amazing...
I was mainly being a prick to Johnny. That was my main thing.
Well, then you get surprised when I'm clapping back at you. Russell's not being a prick to me. No, Why do you think I'm clapping back at you all the time?
I knew we were going to have this. I just wanted to have this.
Well, just don't act surprised. That's all I'm saying.
This moment.
But I'm not thinking anything that I don't know anything about Wilt Chamberlain. I know about Wilt, but keep on.
Okay. A lot of people, I'll put it this way, a lot of people don't know that he had a killer fadeaway. I mean, some big Wilt Chamberlain fans, I don't even want to just say big Wilt Chamberlain fans, some people who are familiar with the style and how he played and how the 60s would play hate the fact that it's called a Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway, the Dirk fade.
Yeah.
Because Wilt Chamberlain was doing that exact same fadeaway regularly. There's compilation videos, dude. You can look up, and it's beautiful. You just look up compilation videos of him with the knee out, looking just like Dirk, doing that fadeaway over and over again, off the glass, off the glass. It was like Tim Duncan and Dirk together.
It is a prehistoric version of what we're gonna see. Like, because he, for whatever it's worth, when he releases the shot, and some of these shots will be on your screen right now, but when he's releasing the shot, it doesn't look good, but it goes in. Like
he did have kind of a weird form.
He looks
with it
like very off balance, like he's a big lumbering guy.
Well, because he also doesn't look like he's totally using his guide hand. Like it's weird.
Sure.
It was almost just like a one-handed
Kevin Duckworth status.
But with that being said, dude's 7'1".
Yeah,
he has a 7'8" wingspan.
Yeah.
He's falling backwards. Like, you had a hard time enough contesting a 6'6" Michael Jordan fadeaway. You're talking about a 7'1", 7'8" wingspan. Wilt Chamberlain fading backwards as high as he can elevate. Like, you're never going to contest that. So a shot that he's regularly good at, he could just get whatever he wants. Not to mention how strong he is and how much he's going to get in the paint and with his minutes. And I'm telling you, I just don't feel like it's that crazy. Like, the numbers I'm throwing out there, 42 and 17, it's not that crazy. James Harden was nearly averaging 40 points on regular minutes before they're like, we need to get Russell Westbrook more involved. But if they didn't do that, he might have averaged 40 points that year for the Rockets.
Yeah.
And then you just inflate any. I know we're having a little bit difficult finding the exact numbers, but I'm telling you, just prorate those minutes, and all those guys are right around 17, 18 rebounds a game.
So so this is I'll do the rebounds in a second, but I have the points. I've had the points one up here for a little bit. So we're looking Giannis' season that we talked about. He's up to 46.5 points per game under the 48 minutes. Harden's season you just mentioned, up to 47.2. And then there's a couple of Wilt seasons here. It's a fair point. Let me get the rebounds. I just don't think he plays 48 minutes. I personally don't think anybody, no matter what player empowerment setting or no matter what player empowerment stuff is going on with him, while I think he does, I think there's some of that lets him play more than others. I don't think he plays 48 minutes because I just don't think they let people fucking do that in today's game. They just don't. It just won't happen.
And to rebuttal your Harden take, Harden was shooting at least 5, 6, maybe 7 threes a game.
Yeah,
sure.
During this time that he's averaging 40, Harden's also getting probably 13, 14 rebounds. I know we're going to compare it to Wilt, but Harden's also shooting 85% or more from the. Yeah. So he's shooting better percentages, shooting from deeper, and he also is not playing the other side of the court either. He's not really playing defense, which would be doing all of that. I just think I think I'm being a little bit more realistic about what maybe the 30 is a little better. Like I just think it's too conservative. But I mean, there is a world where I could understand your numbers just depending on what the minutes are. I mean, because if I brought him down to, like, say, Fred VanVleet's minutes, where he was actually leading the league,
38.
Now I'm knocking him down to maybe 33 points, like 14 rebounds, something like that. Because you can even do that with Wilt's prime seasons. Just knock them down per 36 minutes, and it's like they're way more realistic. It doesn't look as goofy.
Yeah.
So you're right. There's a benefit of math that's involved in these things. And we did this for MJ, and I wanted to do this for Wilt too. If you were to go to the amount of we had average rebounds, right? So can you go back to what his team averaged and averaged in rebounds a game during that season?
For that season? Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Because I feel like you guys might have me on the rebound case, because my thing is I'm taking into consideration Julius Randle, but I could totally see how that might not be. And I'm taking into consideration Julius Randle and also Wilt having a guard like a Joker,
right?
All the way back to the 3-point line. Now he might not be getting those rebounds. You pulling him out, you kind of opening up the lane, stuff like that, which he didn't have to deal with at all when he was in Yeah. There was not even a 3-second violation back.
Very true.
So he could just sit in the lane and get all those rebounds pretty easily, and just
offensive goaltending. Stuff
and
like
most
that.
guys weren't even shooting that much. There was barely it was mid-range jumpers. There weren't really there wasn't a 3-point line, but there were barely those deep shots. So
weren't
kind of benefited him a little bit more, huh?
Yeah, they weren't as accurate either.
I agree. I just think I've adjusted the numbers for those things already. I mean, because again, we're taking the same season and Wilt averaged 25 rebounds. Yeah. I'm knocking 8 rebounds off what he got. Yeah. I mean, those are going to that's going to translate to some of those things you mentioned. And again, it's like if he's playing the same amount of minutes and such, I mean, 8 rebounds a game. Some big men only get 8 rebounds a game. Some guys, it's a full game's worth. So
I feel like Wilt, though, to go along with the rebounds, I feel like where Wilt's going to get rebound hungry is on the offensive glass, because he's going to look at it like, hey, if these fucking guys got to get their shots up, I got to find my points in some way, shape, or form. So I'm getting these putbacks. Like, I think we could.
Malone.
Yeah, I could see a universe where that is the thing for sure, Dario. I could totally see, because like you said, outside of Embiid, Joker, but even Joker, he's way bigger than Joker.
No, he's not.
He is. He's taller than Joker, and he's definitely stronger than Joker.
And he's got a way bigger reach than Joker too.
That too.
Like that wingspan's even big, much bigger than Wilt's size.
How much does Joker weigh?
He's probably a big boy, but I think Wilt has him in strength. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say that's a different kind of big though. I mean, he's chunky big. Wilt's
he is.
No, yeah, I know.
Wilt's strong big, you know.
And Joker's not one to he's
so how many?
He's
how
not
many
soft,
rebounds,
but like
how many rebounds did they average in 62? Did we get that?
Yeah, I got that. So it's 74 on the team, and he averaged 25.
So he averaged a third of their rebounds, right? Yeah. Now we're gonna go. Now if we go to the New York Knicks,
got it.
Because this is the team that you got. Yeah. And how much they're averaging?
46.
A third of that. It's about. I gotta do my math.
Isn't it like 15? Because
like
45,
46, yeah,
it's a little over 15.
And I'm okay with that. Now the points. This is where we're just never gonna agree.
Well, that's why I couldn't do above 30, because I just was looking at it like 105 points.
105,
it's not a team known for high scoring. It's going to be like very like grit and grind.
It's a slower paced team too.
I just don't feel like we're as far off as you're making it sound, Dario. We're a little
42? 42 is far.
Yeah, but you're taking almost a whole quarter away, because I'm saying he's playing 48. You're saying he's not. Russell, what was the minutes you're giving him?
I said 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
48's
all right. So taking that into consideration, right?
They're first. So the Warriors are first in the league in scoring, obviously during this period of time with Wilt's 50, and they got 125.
Yeah. So to put it in perspective, he averaged 50 on 125 points. That's 40% of the team's points. Yeah. If he and your points make sense when you say I'm expecting him to play 48 minutes, because that would be 42 points. The 42 divided by the 105.
He's like, you don't even know. I did my math.
Yeah, he probably
did. I didn't actually. I was just like, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it worked out. But the whole thing is, now you're not, to me, we're not taking into consideration a bunch of other factors. Like, one, he's not playing 48 minutes. So taking away the 8 minutes, now you got.
Okay, Wilt, back then, though, guys weren't playing 48 minutes. And Wilt said, I want to play every single minute.
Yeah.
Dude, if the New York Knicks, who have been garbage forever, they have 1 year where they're like, they might actually make it to the playoff again, and there's rejoicing in the Big Apple.
Well, sure, it's everywhere on the city.
Now Wilt Chamberlain comes in. Everybody knows how good he is, because this is 62. That means he's been in the league already a couple years, destroying people. Yeah. And so we know how good he is, and he says, I want to play every single minute. Do you want to piss that guy off? You want to say no to that? Like that's where I'm coming from. Is I'm saying, if I'm taking the same Wilt and he says this, who's going to tell him no? I think Thibodeau's one of the least likely guys to tell him no. He's like, all right, let's do it. Like,
I think the 40 minutes is already giving him what he wants. Like,
I think he gets to the league. If he gets any higher than 40, I feel like it's that 45, maybe like the Iverson, where Iverson was at, with like he would have like his 2 minutes in the second quarter where he'd get a Gatorade and come back in. Like I just don't think. I just feel like especially because I feel like we almost know too much in today's game because of everything we know from a science and medical perspective. Like, I'm sure there's research that shows, hey, well, you should probably not do this if you don't want these, like, there's different things that can be shown. We're in the 60s. It's like, anybody got any proof that says I can't do this? Anybody? No? All right. Well, then fuck it. I'm going out there and just throw me a water out there every once in a while. Yeah. That's it. Like,
the league was only 15 years old.
That too. So it's just like, and they need him to get over like Rover. But
I get what you're saying, and you guys very well may be right. My only thing is, I just have to change Wilt in order to reconcile that. You know, it's like, am I actually taking 1962 Wilt because this is what he said, this is what he did? So that's at least how I'm viewing it. Because, I mean, there's other arguments where I do that, too. It's like anybody who criticizes Michael Jordan's three-point shooting, it's like there's quotes of Michael during the 92 finals going, I didn't focus on it. I don't think it's important because other guys are able to focus on it, what I do. But you really think in today's game where it's so highly emphasized, he wouldn't have worked on it more? He wouldn't have been a better shooter? I think all of those guys would have. And the same thing goes to taking guys back in time. If Steph Curry grew up in the 60s, you think he's romanticizing the long ball? Absolutely not, because nobody was. You know, that's just not how you raise a basketball player.
That man, Steph Curry, is not going in the paint. Fuck that. He would get murdered by Wilt Chamberlain.
All
those giant people. The fouls, he'd be out of the league immediately.
Well, it's a very personal story. It's a very personal story. But I remember being in elementary school, and this was just like, this totally sums it up for me. Is like, my coach chewed me out because I was the tallest kid, and he said, "You're playing the center position." I took one perimeter jumper and I missed it. It was off back iron. Wow. It wasn't even a bad miss. I was looking forward to my next shot. And he goes, "Don't do that again. Stay in the paint." And now, if I was that same kid in today's game, they're like, we're turning him into a stretch 4.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, keep working on that shot. But back then I got chewed out for it. It's like, it's just changed so much, you know?
Drastically. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
It's way more outside in. And way more.
So to put the math back on the board, taking into consideration your points to minutes, and then taking it back to the points per minute times 40 instead of 48, he's at 35. I'm not mad at the 30. I think for a big man, 30, he would easily be leading the league in scoring, which will probably, like, now we're taking into his consideration, like, his personality. He's going to want to lead the league in scoring. He's going to want to feel like he's the most dominant. So I'm cool with 30, maybe 31. I'm just not going 40. I feel like Jordan, it was hard for us to say Jordan was going to average 40 in this league. I just can't imagine that Wilt is. When Jordan has more assets in his...
Well, it's hard for you guys to say it. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like you were about to go, well, I wasn't here for that, so fuck all that.
MJ's averaging 40.
Every team, all of the teams, don't care which one, doesn't matter. All right, let's move on to the play-in section of this. So,
how far do we think the Knicks go?
Okay, I thought they'd get to top 6 at worst. I feel like,
but in the playoffs, what do you think? The first round out, second round out, they go to the chip. What are we expecting?
I don't think they go too far, just because it's the Knicks, and I have no faith in them.
Yeah, I'm second round at most. Because what I'm saying with Wilt, I just, although I would expect him to put up those monster numbers. Seriously, those numbers I said, I think it would be like a very just messy environment because he just like on the Knicks, and I feel like Knicks fans would be like, he's our savior, and they'd be all for it, you know, just feed the big man. And I feel like even Tibbs would be like, we're just going to give this man whatever he wants and let him run the show. And Wilt was such an egomaniac, like he matured a little bit as he got older and got his teammates involved, but he didn't care about any of that back then. Like, I just don't see it
so much money in jersey sales. That Wilt Nick jersey would be everywhere in the city. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, they would love.
How do you guys think he'd do in the social media era?
Oh my God, that's a great point.
He'd be broken down.
Yeah,
he had issues with how the media portrayed him in the 60s. Imagine now.
He'd be depressed.
Yeah, he would.
He'd be Me Too'd more than we can count.
Oh my God.
20,000. You don't think a few of those are going to say something? 20,000?
Didn't only get 100 in the court, you know?
Yeah. We know. What would happen in New York? He'd play one game and then immediately go to jail for sexual assault. That's what would happen.
Oh my God.
And then that'd be it. Fucking, he'd have to get Porzingis traded the fuck out of there immediately before the charges ended. Holy shit. Oh man, that would be incredible.
Wait, why is he getting rid of Porzingis? Is Porzingis the one pressing charges?
No, literally, literally, the Knicks traded Porzingis away. This will be on your screen.
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. You're right. Now I remember.
The next day, these sexual assault charges came out that have since been dropped.
Go to Dallas.
But send him right to Dallas.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh man, the irony of him going to Dallas too, considering all that information. But.
Well, I also have Will probably leaving in the second round.
Okay. I think
I'm giving you some respect, Johnny. I feel like you totally disregarding how much I just don't look at him as a godly figure. I just think he's a really.
I don't either. I gave him 48 minutes.
He is your demigod.
Natural. Wait, no, he's not. How much do you think Kobe would average 48 minutes? Kobe was averaging 35 points per game at a time where teams were putting up 97. How many points would Kobe average playing 48 minutes?
I've seen Kobe average 45 minutes a game, and he was averaging about 27, 30 points.
Yeah, but that was 2012, 2013 Kobe. I'm talking about 06
I know,
Kobe.
This is why it's cool, Johnny, because you know exactly what I was talking about.
But that's my point. I was I acknowledge. I try to defend how special Wilt is. I try to defend how special Wilt is, but I also acknowledge, dude, his rebounds were inflated because of the era he played in. Yeah. All of his numbers were inflated because of the era he played in. Freaking his blocks were inflated because there wasn't 3-pointers and everybody's trying to take a shot within 5 feet. So it's there's a lot. I recognize those factors, but you still can't deny the fact that the dude was a track athlete, had one of the highest leaps we've ever seen. He's big by modern big standards. He's way above average. The average center in today's day is 6'10". He's 7'1" with a 7'8" wingspan, and everyone who ever played him talked about how powerful he was. Then you talk about all of his offensive skills, and I'm telling you, just look up those videos. I just think dunks are the ones that are just put in the highlights, but he did way more than that.
Yeah. And I agree with that 100%. I think Wilt is a top 5 center all time easily, and he's averaging 31 points with the Knicks.
It's also
I got you up 5 points. Did I get you up 5 points?
Yeah, you got.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
But I was looking at it. My whole thing is I was truly looking at it because if I'm just going strictly Wilt and he says fuck his team, sure he could average 30, 35 points and they'll lose. But I was looking at, if Wilt is averaging this, they could be a legit contender and possibly make it as far as possible. I think that works best for his team. But I could see if we're just going straight up, Wilt is saying, I want to be the most dominant big man. 31 is cool.
Well, that's because that's my thinking. As I'm thinking 1962 Wilt. If you ask me 1967 Wilt, it's totally different. He's not putting up those insane numbers. He's trying to get guys more involved. He's just coming from a totally different mindset. But he at this time, I think it's just that. It's just he's just thinking himself. So
all right, let's go to the play-in teams. So we can stop talking about the Knicks, for God's sakes. So let's figure 6 to 10, right?
Yep,
so 6 to 10 in each spot. So you're thinking replacing Anthony Davis? Oh no, it wouldn't be.
So this is the thing.
No. Hold on. It would not be replacing Anthony Davis. I forgot Anthony Davis afraid to play center. Continue.
Yeah. Anthony Davis is a puss. But listen, So sorry for if Anthony Davis ever watches.
Anthony Davis isn't playing half the time anyway.
Yeah, talk, Johnny.
Street clothes.
I was trying to be politically correct. Johnny over here. What? All right, but this is what would happen. Wilt Chamberlain comes to the team. They say, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Trade Anthony Davis.
Problem
Westbrook
solved.
Situation. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Give me some type of shooter.
That.
Trade Anthony Davis for like Klay Thompson or something. I don't care who you trade him for.
Yep.
Give us one 3-point shooter and we lit. Now you got LeBron James running the point. Y'all going to force Russell Westbrook to be a bench player. And then we're going to have the 3-point shooter there with my boy Wilt Chamberlain, championship contender. LeBron wins his 5th championship. Wilt Chamberlain wins his 1st championship. Wilt Chamberlain is the star of the team because that's what LeBron wants in Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is a plus. So now you get Wilt Chamberlain averaging 32.
That's not what LeBron wants. I just got to stop you there. That's not what LeBron wants.
No one said we were picking this team. But question on
I had my whole ready. I was ready.
I know you were. That's why I said stop.
I could go with the Lakers too. I got.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked by that announcement. I got to look at the teams. But I do want to talk about the Westbrook part of that because it triggered something in my head. Do you think Westbrook's Iverson-esque in his you think he would hate coming off the bench or refuse to do it? Or do you think he would feel like he could like dominate the bench?
That's why I said you.
Yeah. You think he would have a problem with it? I don't know. He seems like he would have the attitude that would not like it, but you never know. Maybe he would maybe he'd be like, sick, I can do whatever I want here. All these motherfuckers are garbage on the bench. I could just do it. I could go, I could score. I don't have to pass to anybody that I don't want to.
He could do his triple-double thing with the 22 minutes they give him without LeBron and Wilt Chamberlain on the floor.
Yeah.
And if you
asked me that question a couple years ago, I'd say definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But Russell, at this point, the narratives about him, like he's been so broken down mentally. Like, the amount of people who are in his corner vouching for him is shrinking every year.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, he's just got to do whatever he wants to try to win. Because there was a point, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, when Carmelo Anthony would never want to come off the bench.
That was the other guy, yeah.
And he opened up to it a little bit because they just broke him down. Like, it was okay, you're either coming off the bench or you're not going to have a job pretty much.
Yeah. They force you,
But that's the way it can go. It can either go the Iverson route where they tell you that and then you go play in China, or it's the other where you're mellow, you get out of the league for like a year or two, and then you decide, fuck it, it's time, I'll come off the bench, whatever. Those are the two ways to go. And I could see the Iverson happening before the mellow, I think. I think I could see him playing overseas or like getting a statue in another country for this play in basketball, like Stephon Marbury, some shit like that. And doing it that way. I can't see him accepting. I could totally see him giving the same promo that Allen Iverson did. Ain't no franchise players coming off the bench. I could totally see him being like that. I averaged a triple-double for half a decade. I'm not coming off no fucking bench. Could absolutely see him being like that.
I feel bad for Westbrook. I really do. Even as a Laker fan, I feel bad for him because you just look back and there's been so many situations where it's like, they freaking traded Harden when they could have built something great in OKC. And then, freaking Kevin Durant disappeared in game 6 and 7 when they really should have won the championship there in 2016. And even in this current situation where it feels like this is the last opportunity, the fit with LeBron is the worst fit ever. And we knew that going in. I didn't care because I love how good Westbrook looks in a Lakers jersey, but my head was telling me this isn't going to work. Because
I'm pretty positive you said it here on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On my channel too. Because you're turning Westbrook into a spot-up shooter. Yeah. He's one of the worst 3-point shooters of all time.
Yeah,
he can't play off ball. Don't make him play off ball. And when he does have the ball, he's turning it over a lot anyway. So it's just
he's like
not
giving
working.
like 5-6 turnovers. The saddest thing for me was watching Westbrook. He was shooting an open 3, and the entire Lakers gym, said no, like as he was shooting it. And that was just the saddest thing because it's like you don't deserve that. Like, come on, like this is Russell Westbrook. It's just, to me, that was just crazy.
I have the Raptors,
and also it was Westbrook and Durant that lost that 2016. I'm just saying because I saw both of them they couldn't buy a bucket for their life. Yeah. I remember that. I was rooting against them, and I was hyped.
The reason why I say that, though, for sure, the reason why I say that, though, is because people pretend it's just Westbrook.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember how neither of those guys showed up.
They both showed up. For sure.
Yeah, I'm adding KD to the mix, but yeah, you're right. It was both of them. They all showed up.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at. I have the Raptors up. When we were doing the minutes played situation, these three men, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby, were all in the top 5 there of most minutes per game this season. So clearly, their head coach, whose name is escaping me right this second.
So we're putting him in Toronto. So
no. I'm just giving. I'm excited for something else.
I'm giving the case. Nick Nurse, head coach. This is a well-coached team. This is a team that's has a gaping hole at the center position, in my opinion, because Pascal is a power forward. And I think there's a universe where this makes a lot of sense for Wilt to get a lot of big stats and big minutes. I could definitely see that. Well, let me look at some of these other teams.
And I feel like they. What were you gonna say?
Go ahead. I was gonna make a dumb point. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like they would be more willing to allow like a superstar to take over. You know,
for sure.
Kawhi was their guy, and then he kind of left, and then they kind of just had to figure things out. I feel like they're waiting for a superstar to come in and just take over that franchise.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah,
that would work out really well.
Did you want to make a point, Johnny?
Oh yeah, go.
I was just gonna say I think it'd be a better fit on the Lakers, though. They need talent. I'm bringing it back.
They need everything. Everything.
There was one. This one team. I have like a, and it sounds weird the way I'm gonna word this, but I have I think it's because of this guy. I want to pick this team, the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
You get
I don't know how we got
Jason
there.
Tatum, Kobe-esque.
Okay.
Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq-esque. You get the Kobe Shaq dynamic. We get to have Kobe Shaq currently. You got my boy averaging 25. They'll figure it out. Jaylen Brown, sorry, you're gonna have to average like 17 points, bro, and let Wilt Chamberlain do his thing. You're gonna have Wilt Chamberlain averaging 30 and 15, right? Like Shaq, and you're gonna put Kobe up in there. It's gonna be like 0-1 Lakers.
This is another team that has a gaping hole at the center position for sure.
That's what I'm saying. And then look at oh my God, Wilt Chamberlain would make this team instantly championship contenders. Instant.
Who did they end up picking to replace Brad Stevens?
You got Marcus Smart, lockdown defenders, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart on the. Oh man, come on, Wilt Chamberlain. You're not gonna be able to do anything in the perimeter. You lock down, and then you come to the paint. We blocking your. Wilt Chamberlain MVP, best player in the league.
I want to know how.
I'm convinced
Bill Russell. I want to know how Bill Russell would feel about Wilt Chamberlain in the Celtics jersey. Would it disgust him? Or would he be like, finally, I don't have to keep playing against this dude?
Yeah.
You know, that would have been.
Okay.
He would have loved the image of that.
He accepted the Laker love. He wears the Kobe jersey around everywhere. Does Bill Russell? So it's fine. Yeah. They could intermingle
after he died. I mean, God,
that's not true. Kobe
was he wearing it before?
Kobe was actually Bill Russell's favorite player.
Yeah,
right.
No, for sure. But I'm talking about Bill Russell, putting on a Lakers jersey.
Wearing a Lakers jersey. No, absolutely. Yeah. Basically, though, every day since Kobe's funeral, he's been wearing that jersey. It feels like every time I see him in public.
That's why me and Bill Russell never had issues.
You and Bill Russell never like this in public ever. Yeah,
facts.
Makes sense. Fucking
Bill Russell's my guy.
Bill Russell's my adopted grandfather. Continue.
What about the Hawks?
He looks like you, though.
What about the Hawks? What about the Clippers,
Lindsay?
Lindsay?
Good one too.
The Hawks.
What about your Clippers?
Wow, you just totally disregarded what she said. She's like, what about the Hawks? He's like, what about the Clippers?
No, it was funny because she was like, the Hawks. No,
what about you stop talking?
Let's just stick with the Hawks. Let's just avoid the Clippers. Thank you. The Hawks.
You got Trey Mundo over here. Of all the 3-point shooters on this team. I feel like this is another team that could. I feel like Wilt and Trae Young would get along. Be like Jerry West back in the day.
What the shit?
Comparing Trae Young to Jerry West really brought me joy.
Yeah,
because they're not the same at all. But what do you call it? I don't know. I feel like this is another situation. They love having. You think Trae Young and Jerry West are similar?
I mean, not like completely, obviously, but like they were like They're both sharpshooters. Like obviously Jerry West was more of a. I feel like he was more of a
defender.
He was less. Huh?
Jerry West played great defense.
Oh no, yeah, but come on, I'm talking about like more so their offensive player.
I feel
like,
they click.
Yeah. I think Trae Young obviously tries to pass a little more. I think Jerry West was a little bit more like he attacked a little bit more.
Yeah,
it depends because he did lead the team in assists with like 8 or 9 at one point later on when they were competing for championships. So I think it just depends on which. I mean, I guess if we're putting him with 62 West, then yeah, he's going to be.
Was he not always competed for championships? Wasn't he in the chip like more than half his career?
Yeah, I mean, technically he was always competing and always losing, but
yeah, he just kept taking L's. He went 9 times, Russell, right? Man. Isn't he like 2 for 7 or something like that?
He's 1 for 9.
Yeah, something
1 for 9. Oh yeah, that's insane.
But yeah, to your point, end of the career, led the league, 9 assists. But generally, during this time that we're talking about, 38 and 5.5 from Jerry West. I guess it's similar than I was giving credit for.
Those stat lines are actually pretty similar to Trae Young. Once you start getting to the early 70s, it's actually pretty similar to Trae between the assists and the points.
I guess that's fair.
But obviously West is a much better defender, like Russell said, which
But I actually don't hate this either. This team is known for having high quality rim runners, and I think Wilt Chamberlain would be a rim runner on Mega Crack for them, for sure. Let's see it.
But you don't think they like have too many of that? They would have too many of them. You're just gonna
from a roster standpoint, from a total roster standpoint, I think it would screw up their team.
Yeah, like you'd have to trade some of them.
Yeah,
like the Laker thing. I feel like it would work if we traded Anthony Davis. Like I said,
you just said trade though. So why couldn't the Hawks trade somebody?
No, that's what we were saying.
That's his point.
That's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid that.
I feel like not only because I'm biased, the Celtics work the best because you don't have to trade anything. If you plug him in there, they're instant championship contenders.
That's how I feel about Toronto.
Lockdown defense, lockdown offense. But do you have the lockdown defense, lockdown offense? Like, I'm not lockdown offense, but
you alluded to being biased with this take, talking about the Celtics as you're wearing a Lakers jersey. Your respect for the Celtics has gone too far. It's like crossing over to like fandom as well.
It's not that. It's the Kobe Tatum thing. That's what it is.
That's all it's about for him.
It's the fourth coming. You don't know what that means.
What about this? What about LaMelo? What about LaMelo and Wilt? This team actually is another team. Desperately needs a center. Doesn't have to move anybody. But
I just don't trust the LaMelo being so young. Like, he ain't really doing that. Like, I just feel like
he's having a great year. He's playing phenomenal.
No, yeah,
27 and 7.
That's my guy. That's my guy. But I just
shooting the ball okay. Like, if you put Wilt on this team, all these guys who shoot a low percentage, you have to worry about it significantly less because Wilt's going to be there to get you rebounds.
Do you think they become championship contenders doing that?
I think they could. I think they could. There's a universe with all these guards. I think there's a universe they could be
without injury in the NBA.
I think they're top 3 in the East. I think there's a universe with Wilt Chamberlain. They could be top 3.
in the East. So you have them. So it would be Milwaukee.
Yeah.
You got whenever the Nets.
I think they're better.
We're not going to say the Nets because they're not healthy.
Same thing with Philly. Yeah, I think they're better than Philadelphia. I think they're better. They'd be better than Miami with Wilt.
You think they're better than Philly
with Wilt Chamberlain? Yes.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure, we haven't seen Harden yet, but I think it's going to click.
This team without Harden, though, they have no talent. Like they don't have. They're having a really hard time putting up points. Like
Philly.
Yes.
Yeah, and you got Embiid putting up 40 pieces.
I know, but it's not. It's not. I think this team would be more balanced, more talented, and would ultimately be better.
I'm assuming you're going to go against Philly full strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like you said, there's no proof to say that that's absolutely going to work yet. There's no proof to say that it is or it isn't.
Philly's not full strength right now, and they still have a better record than them.
This is a speculation video, Russell.
Thank
There's
you.
no proof of anything.
Yeah. So
he's like, there's no proof. There's no proof of anything.
I think the Hornets. I think the Hornets would be a way more well-rounded team. They get this record right here, this 500 record that they're at. I've watched a lot of their games that have gone like down to the wire, gone either way. It reminds me of the
young. You think Wilt is going to change that?
I think Wilt helps that a lot, especially if when we get to stat lines, if he's able to get the stat line we just said for the Knicks, absolutely.
How's Wilt going to be closing out these? You're going to have Wilt as your closer. You're going to be getting hack a shack like crazy.
I just think adding 30 points to anybody's team is a big help.
I think adding 30 points to that Celtics team literally puts them above everybody in the league.
I agree.
I think if you put Wilt on that Celtics team, they literally become instant championship team. Easily. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. You got Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's now been in this is 5th season, 6th season, whatever season it is. He's been to like 3 conference finals. They all have like, I know they're young, but they all have
who's getting him the ball though.
Experience.
Like I like Wilt.
Marcus Smart he's
but he's not a great point guard. I want a guy who's a great get me the ball. Like look at Shaq, right? If we're talking Shaq and Kobe and that sort of thing. If we're looking at Shaq always needed a guy to get him the fucking ball.
Who was that guy? I was going to make that exact point. For the other stance, he never had a great point guard. Well, he never had a great point guard with the Lakers. Let me put it that way.
Kobe was averaging 7 or 8 assists mediocre. With him.
No, he wasn't.
No, Kobe never was.
Nah, he never got that high. You're talking to 2 Kobe dudes. He never got that high.
No, that's not true. Yeah, I love Kobe to death. His max may have been like 6.9 or something, maybe 7 once, but he
never once averaged 7 assists.
Not even in the playoffs?
Maybe.
Look. Did I get 6.9 right? No, 6.9 rebounds, I think.
Not even in the playoffs? Yeah, okay, not even in the playoffs. That's fair. All right. But still,
but here's the thing. It was a committee thing. It was they fed Shaq by committee, but that's part of the reason I think it would work. I mean, when you say who's going to get Shaq the ball, I'm like, can you make an entry pass? Like that's all it takes. Have a post up, make an entry pass. I mean, with how big he is and how much he reaches, it's not that hard. I can make a freaking entry pass.
I'm just thinking people who are more thinking about that sort of thing, like pass first guys, like.
I mean, if you had Chris Paul getting, Wilt the ball.
We're going to get to that when we get to it. We're going to get to that.
We're going to make Chris healthy, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's out for 7 weeks. But but I really do because that Boston team could also spread the floor.
Yeah.
Now you got Wilt with open lanes. Like, come on, he's gonna wild out like this. And if you have any center on him, he's gonna pretty much dominate him. And he's going to be able to run around them.
If you guys want to do the Celtics, I don't mind doing the Celtics, but I think I'd rather have the Raptors. I just wanted to put that out there. Or the Raptors or the Hornets. I would rather have that. I don't know. I personally don't see it, but I'm good.
I see the Celtics.
I've been overruled.
I think that's like, I think between their entire team, that's what they need. If you gave them, like if Embiid was in the Celtics right now, they'd be a championship team. Like they need that center. That center would change that whole team around easily.
I still think that if they had a better facilitator on this Boston team, that all these guys would.
They don't need another guard. They have too many guards.
I know, but I just wish one of their guys was like just a pass first guy that was looking to get these guys going all the time.
So look, you got multiple guys averaging 4+ assists. That's like between all of those guys.
I get that. I get it.
But a bunch of decent guards doesn't make one elite guard.
That's what I'm saying. Like I wish he had. And even on Toronto, obviously they don't have any elite guard there. But like I just especially with the Charlotte point with LaMelo, like that guy's going to look for Wilt every single time down the floor. Like get him going. And from a statistical standpoint, that beefs his stats up, obviously. So I don't know. I'm just looking at it from that perspective. But I'm good to do the Celtics.
He's thinking early 2000s Lakers though. Like I think you're thinking that Shaq and Kobe thing, and I could see it too. I mean, because Wilt had Hal Greer for a time in his career, but again, most of the time he just either was getting the rebounds or he was going to work from the post. I mean, it's not really hard. Like Dwight Howard, a player who doesn't have the best back to the basket skills, he's a guy who heavily relies upon having an elite point guard to help him get points. Wilt Chamberlain's more skilled than that. But it's like, as long as you can get him the ball in the post, I feel like he'll be fine. So he doesn't need the best point guard. So
I ain't mad at that at all. But all right, so who's going first? Yeah, go. It was your case, so go.
Yeah. So we're gonna have Wilt Chamberlain averaging 30. 16. No, matter of fact, 18. I'm giving this boy 18. You wanna know why? Because he's literally their only center. He's 18.
Yeah.
Like 3 to 4 blocks. He's wild out. He's defense, offense, dominant. Right?
He's definitely not playing a ton of minutes under this system. I feel like the Celtics are one of those
don't even
hold your minutes back type.
And let me explain why I'm going with the more points.
Okay.
Now you're gonna have a much more flowing offense. You're gonna have the floor is gonna be spread all over the place. You got Jason Tatum who could chuck a bunch of threes. You got my boy Jaylen Brown who could do his little thing. And then you're gonna have lockdown defense, which is gonna be defense created offense. Will's gonna be having fast break alley oops and stuff like that. We're gonna be wilding, right? And then Tatum's not stupid, right? He learned from the Mamba method. At this point, and one thing that I like about Tatum that Kobe didn't have at this young age is Kobe never really had that experience where the teamwork makes the dream work experience at that point. Really, like he wanted that to take over, be that guy. Tatum got the Duke experience, and then also with I was gonna say Bryant. What's the coach name? His current coach?
Not Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens. Coach. Brad Stevens is old coach. Now they have M.A. Udoka. Brad Stevens.
But Brad Stevens still like they installed teamwork into him. So I think he's not gonna have the pulling force between him and Will. I feel like he's going to be more so, Will, you're going to dominate. I'm going to wall out on the guard position. We're going to have a lockdown guard wing, whatever the hell we want to call it. We're going to have lockdown defenders. Dominant team, championship team. They win any team they face, they beat them in 5. Wilt Chamberlain. MVP. Best player in the league.
I do not MVP. Have that, but go ahead. Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm just trying to make sense of this. So, he keeps saying we when he's referring to the Celtics. He's just wearing a Lakers jersey.
Well, I'm a Tatum fan. I'm a Tatum fan.
And he acts like he hates Wilt Chamberlain until he's in a Celtics jersey.
Yeah.
And then
what are we doing here? Come on.
I don't know. Like That's what I'm asking. What are you doing here?
This is narrative skewing. This is it's the Tatum effect. I like Jason Tatum a lot, and I feel like Wilt Chamberlain would easily get Jason Tatum his first championship. And Tatum will figure that out.
Yeah,
and it'll just be like Kobe, Shaq all over again.
Go ahead,
John. All right. So let me give him numbers. He's still playing 48. I don't care what you all say. I've given him 38.
Okay.
18 and a half rebounds. 48 minutes. 48 minutes. I see you looking at me, Dario. 48 minutes. 3 assists. That's not changing. And still like forward, the blocks and the assists, they don't change. So, but yeah, he's putting up strong numbers. And go ahead.
What Tatum's averaging? When you're 38 and 18, what is Tatum averaging? He's going to average 16 points a game or something like that?
No, he's going to average about 22. I mean, they're winning, right? They're winning. I think because he's still kind of owning the perimeter. But Wilt's going to be shooting a ton of free throws. He's going to be missing a ton of free throws. But show to Shaq. I mean, the free throws helped Shaq score a ton of points. Mm-hmm. And again, when Shaq was averaging 30 points per game in his prime, that's when teams were only putting up like 98 to 100 points a game. Now they're putting up like 112 points a game.
Yeah.
And the pace of play is a little bit faster and such. Sure. So yeah, I just see him putting up a lot more points. For everything you said, I think it's going to be great. I think the defense is going to be clicking better.
Yeah.
Maybe you could take away a couple points just because there's a couple, there's more of a teamwork type atmosphere, but I still think he's going to get his points from the heavy minutes, and that this team is going to be functioning much better as a unit. Because although Brad Stevens isn't still in there, I agree with Dario in the sense that system is still in place, and so, yeah, I think it's going to work. I'm not going to say they beat everybody in 5.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I said in the finals they win in 5, whoever they face.
You said every single team they go against, we're beating them in 5. I'll run it back.
All 4 teams they face in the NBA Finals, Russell. That's what he means.
Yeah, of course.
I think the East is gonna. I don't know. Whatever. They're winning the NBA championship. That's one thing. But I did want to just bring this back because we disagreed a lot, and you pretty much agreed with my point with the 32 because you said, I guess you could take away the little bit of.
I'm not taking 6 points away. Maybe he's averaging 36 or 35. I'm not taking 6 points away.
You want too much,
dude. How? Okay.
Come 40 minutes because Tatum's averaging 36 minutes. You gotta give them 40. They're not gonna say, "Yeah, Tatum, you averaging 36."
I
agree.
Give you 48. I agree with Dario on this.
Dario, I don't care if you're everyone and agrees. Okay, that's how I feel. All right, Dario. What if, just hypothetically, if he played 48, what would you give him?
If he was playing 48 minutes,
if he was playing 48, what would he average?
I'd probably go closer to like 36-ish points, 37 maybe.
Okay, yeah, you're getting right around what I'm saying. So the big disagreement is just there's just no way he would play 48. Yeah, that's your big thing.
I don't think you're gonna, especially with that. There's no way the Celtics as an organization as a whole are not gonna say, yeah, you're gonna play 48 minutes in 2022. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I do like your point a little bit more with the Celtics organization. They have a little bit more self-respect than the Knicks do. But, I mean,
you're goddamn right.
It's just, I just have a hard time not seeing people give Wilt what he wants. Because you have to understand with Wilt, this dude was one of the most egotistical players of all time.
Yeah.
This dude got all the praise in the world. He was the most popular dude ever. They already spoke about him like he was a myth with all of his achievements. And he still had to lie about things he did all the time because he needed more praise and more attention.
Yeah.
It's like this dude had such an ego. It's insane. So I just don't see him backing down. It's like, again, I keep on beating that dead horse, but I think he's playing a lot.
that is the biggest reason why I will probably not say, no matter what team he's on, that team will 100% win the championship, because there's Wilt's whole career of proof that his mentality and the way he attacked the basketball court, it ended up translating to not much winning. And if we're talking about team chemistry and egos and that sort of thing, that's where I think a great pass first player comes in big time. A selfless guy, not worried about getting buckets, not worried about getting his touches, just feed the big man. Like,
yeah,
I think that does make a difference, especially if we're talking about winning.
Do you not think these Celtic players are selfless?
I don't. It's hard for me to say that these guys are considered, like, they're score first guys. Like, they're two-way players. Like Tatum and Brown, they're essentially the same guy. They're giving you a lot of effort on the defensive end, and they're giving you a lot of effort on the offensive end. And I just don't think they're worried about facilitating. I don't think facilitating is really part of either of their game. Like, yeah, they get a couple of assists, and occasionally they might have a high assist game every once in a while, but like, they're just not pure facilitators, and I really don't see a facilitator anywhere on this team. It's kind of,
but that's not the way they do it, though. Is they move the ball to get you to that. It's not. It's like the triangle. Like, the best way to put it is the triangle offense. The triangle offense wasn't one specific facilitator that got, like, the reason Kobe didn't average more than 5-6 assists is because, one, that was his early mentality, but
he likes shooting a lot.
Yeah, he liked the one to be able to take that shot. But in that triangle offense, it's always it's like a hockey assist. Like you setting it up, and obviously Boston's offense isn't the triangle offense, but it's similar in a way where you're always going to get that hockey assist. It's not really going to be too many one-on-ones unless it's towards the end of the game or something like that.
That's fair. I would look at the Warriors and the way they do it as exactly that, what you just described. But I don't know. I just don't look at it. I don't look at it necessarily the same way. I see where you're coming from, though. Don't get me wrong. I see where you're coming from.
Well, it's an interesting perspective because it's like just isolation ball just in general doesn't happen as much as it used to. Like
very true.
The 2000 era was like the peak of that with guys like Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Kobe, and stuff like that. That it's like almost every team's trying to figure out how to emulate what the Warriors were doing for a long time. No. That would be what they're trying to do if they were focused on isolation ball.
No, that's what I thought you were talking about. The 2000s, what they were trying to.
Right.
Was,
for sure.
Was MJ? Yeah, sorry.
For me, I have Wilt pretty close to where I had it previously, but with 18 is a lot. Do you think Wilt's ego would force him to get to 20 though? At that point.
Maybe.
Like, do you see if he's at like 18.8? You know he's trying to get to 20. You know he's counting. Like when he's going up for each rebound.
He was definitely that kind of guy too.
Yeah, I can see him
so
going.
Much about stats.
So I'll say 30 and 20 for Wilt.
That just feels so much like.
Oh, it does. But here's my point. Here's my point for this. Like you said, they have no rebounder of significance on this team. That's really going to take away. That's number one. Number two, it's not like we don't see 20 rebound games in today's NBA. Right. It happens not like every single night, but it happens weekly, like for sure, where guys can do it. So, and Andre Drummond for sure was a guy that was his job, and he was very capable of doing so.
Yeah.
I think
and
Wilt
he did it with Greg Monroe right next to him.
Very true.
Like he was doing that with
That's it. So I definitely think he could rack up 20 rebounds on this team. And God forbid these guys shoot bad, like I was saying previously with the Knicks. If they shoot worse than what they're saying, I feel like it's very easy for him to attain that.
Yeah. It's just like the long threes that makes it a little harder for me to think that.
That's fair.
That's just the harder part.
But there should be, maybe I'm crazy, but there should be significantly less of that because of Wilt, right? Like, yeah, they're going to be shooting threes, but think about how many shot attempts are going, like you're getting at least 20 to 25 shot attempps now are not threes, no matter what. Like they're much more centered towards the basket, gives them way more opportunities to rebound. Also, you got to think about Wilt, doing the thing where you're kind of like boxing out, but on offense, where you're blocking guys in, easier layups, that sort of deal. Like the trickiness of the game, I think it changes the dynamic a little bit.
It depends though, because it's possible that they just become two-dimensional. Because you take a team like the early on 2000s Lakers with guys like Brian Shaw, Robert Horry, Rick Fox, guys like that. It was either give it down to Shaq, or if the defense collapses on him, then he kicks it out to one of his open shooters. And they shot a lot of threes in that time, even with Shaq dominating in the paint, because it was that collapse and kick it out thing. And then even with Dwight Howard with the Orlando Magic in that 2009 run, same thing. Give it down to him. Defense collapses. You got your Turkoglu's and your Jameer Nelsons and your other guys outside who can shoot to 3-pointers. So they could turn it into something like that where they could still get their threes because there's just so much attention on Wilt. And if Wilt is willing, big if, he could kick it back out to the perimeter. So,
that's a good point. I definitely, but I have them probably getting bounced in the second round from a chemistry standpoint. I feel like it's one of those situations where they fucking are when the going gets tough, they get going the opposite direction. I feel like it'd be one of those situations.
I do want to recant my playoff thing. My only thing was I like now thinking about it, I feel like I was disrespecting too many of the teams currently and saying 5. I think whoever they win is going to be in 6 most of the time. 5, 6, but they're going to win the championship. Wilt's going to win MVP. He's going to average 42 in the finals.
I could see the MVP case. If he's getting 30 and 20, and that assuming they win more games, there's an MVP case for.
There's no way that they're not. Think about it. If he's really playing 40 minutes a game, Tatum's giving you 36. Like and the whole thing is they have a big three because Jaylen Brown is like if Jaylen Brown's your third best player, that's insane. Like, and then Marcus Smart, you got really a big four because Marcus Smart does the Draymond stuff. Like, this is my thing. Like, we know championship teams have a Draymond Green kind of guy. And
yes,
usually.
Yeah,
sure.
Marcus Smart is that.
Yeah,
I'm literally giving you everything. I'm giving you the defense. I'm giving you the offense. I'm giving you the 3-point shooting. I'm giving you the Marcus Smart. We winning chips as a Tatum fan, not as a Celtics fan. Because if Tatum was in the Lakers.
Dario, I got to send.
If Larry Bird was on the Lakers, if Kevin Garnett was on the Lakers, if freaking any Celtic ever was on the Lakers, I'd love it too, of course.
I got to send you my flags. They'll be in the mail.
Why did the Lakers not pick Tatum over Ball? Like, we could have had him.
Yeah, because Magic bought into the LeVar Ball Kool-Aid.
Like it's bull. Like Magic,
he sold them on it. That's why he was like, "It's the prophecy."
Magic is
and that's
Magic
why
is
I'm willing
great
to take on Tatum
Kool-Aid.
as a Laker because he's truly was supposed to be a Laker. That's my reason. Is like Tatum's really a Laker at heart. He wanted to go to the Lakers. He was a Kobe fan. Like, come on. So how do you have the Celtics team doing in the playoffs?
They're winning. I think they're winning it all. I do. I think they'd probably have some things that they'd run into in some, maybe 7-game series and such. I mean, there's some good teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee come playoff time is still going to be really, really strong. So we'll see.
Wilt versus Giannis?
Wilt versus Embiid because they're in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, and I'm with Dario. I'll put this on record, but I do think that Philly thing's going to work. I do feel like from an X's and O's standpoint, from a position standpoint, it's just if Harden doesn't work with Embiid, he's not going to work with anybody. Like
at this pick and roll pop, like that's going to be so dominant that like just imagine like you're not going to know what to do with Embiid. It's either you play him to the role. And now he's going to pop on. Like, he's going to have so many options. It's going to be crazy. Watch.
But I personally want to see pass first Harden. I want to see the guy that I saw in Brooklyn getting everybody. He could. He totally could. If that's the guy we see.
He was willing to in Brooklyn, too. Like, imagine.
The guy who was, the guy who was 24, 8 and 12. Looking like Matt.
And look at this season. Johnson, he still pretty much did that. Like he was averaging like 23, 10 and something. Like he was doing well in Brooklyn. I mean, in the beginning he looked like what the hell happened to him, but
I'm wondering if Ben Simmons is gonna slide into that role for Brooklyn to be that guy that gets everybody involved. He has that capability. He has that capability, but he's never really gotten too high of an assist total per game. So I'm wondering if he can push it over that 10 total. That's something I'm interested to see out of Brooklyn.
Can we just get him back on the court first?
Yeah, that's fair. Touche.
I just want to see him back out there. God.
Yeah. See what exactly we have to work with.
I'm looking at updates on him like literally on a daily basis because he's available. He's available in my fantasy league. I'm like, okay, Ben, you coming back?
You can't put him on IR or something, or.
Well, I have Kyrie Irving on IR. And what I do is I literally just take him out and put him in, take him out, put him in for every freaking home game, dude. And I'm killing in that league.
Hey, I'm sure that probably helps a lot because you get that free spot, all the time. That's fucking dope. All right. So last but not least, obviously, we have the upper echelon of the league. Teams 1 through 5 in each division. And I brought this up earlier, but putting him next to Chris Paul and sliding him into that DeAndre Ayton spot, I think does wonders for this Suns team and makes them infinitely better than what they already are, which is saying something because they are clicking on. But pre Chris Paul's injury, they've been clicking on all cylinders.
They're the best team in the NBA right now.
I love watching them personally. They're one of my favorite league pass teams. I love watching the Suns. Oh my God. They're super fun to watch.
God,
I'm not mad at that at all.
Is Chris Paul's injury going to bleed into the playoffs?
I hope not.
It's 6 to 8 weeks, and there's 7 weeks left for the playoff.
Yeah.
So I think knowing Chris Paul, he's probably going to go the 6 weeks. That's just the way. I mean, he's also older, so he might not have the option, but just based off what he's done in his entire career, I think it's only going 6.
This poor bastard's had some terrible injury luck. Jesus. He's even got his diet turned around and everything too now.
Yeah.
He's still injured.
And this is like, that's just like a freak injury. It's his thumb. Like, it's not even like his hammy or something. Like, it's like that was his issue before, was his hamstrings and stuff.
Yeah.
But
no, he's hurt his hands a few times.
Yeah, he's had some thumb injuries specifically.
Oh, yeah.
He's got.
But to me, thumb injuries are so freak. That's like the most freak accident you could have in the NBA court. I feel like
it's one of them.
He does use his hands a lot, though. You know, for players specifically. Yeah,
for dribbling,
not just on offense, but defense. No, offense, defense. I mean, he's reaching in all the time. I mean, he's a very defensive-minded player too. So
yeah, but this is assuming obviously Phoenix 100%.
Yeah. There's any of these teams 100%.
The team that I think works magnificent with him is obviously Golden State.
Yeah, that's another one.
They're obviously they have the floor spreaders. You have, like, for Russell, you have a guy in Draymond Green that could facilitate and get him the ball. Yeah. Even though obviously their offense kind of works in a similar way to what I was explaining with the Celtics, but better, obviously. Yeah. And then the pick and roll with him and Curry.
Yeah, that would be unstoppable. Yeah, that'd be wild. And that's the thing about Curry. Like, Curry obviously score first, but you've seen, like, even in this stretch without Draymond, Curry's been great at being a better facilitator. Klay Thompson, despite the fact he's only got 3 assists a game, it's not his ball movement has gotten significantly better, and his work off the dribble has gotten significantly better.
Compared to other athletes too, Curry has almost like no ego. So you could bring in a guy like Wilt, and he's not going to have a problem with him.
He did it with KD.
Yeah, he did. And it turned into an absolute dynasty. So there's no doubting that if Wilt was on this team, I 100%, I think it's a championship contender.
Yeah, Curry definitely looks at it as if it's gonna be able to win us championships, he's willing to. Like his ego was so he has so little of it. Like, him and Will could probably balance each other out with the ego thing. Like, Will has such a high ego, and because Curry was the first year KD came to the Warriors, they had such an issue. Like, he was giving it to KD too much, and that was the issue. You know, like, Will ain't gonna have a problem with that. He's gonna be happy as hell. Like, let's do it.
This with your hockey assist stuff that you were talking about with the Celtics, this team literally multiple times every single game has passes from all of them that'll make your fucking head spin.
Yeah.
And putting Will on this team, I worry less about the shot attempts and stuff than I did with Boston, just because I feel like I genuinely feel like the two offenses of the Warriors and Steve Kerr's mix of the triangle and the swing motion from the Spurs and from Popovich rather and Phil Jackson, I feel like that is a recipe for some serious great shit to happen, where these guys are all going to be able to get a decent amount of shots up. It'll be relatively equal opportunity.
The only ego battle that I have a concern with on this team, if you put him here, is him and Draymond.
Interesting.
Because Draymond acts more like the coach than the actual coach sometimes. And how is Wilt going to handle the dude telling him how to play all the time? Because you can tell at times it pissed Katie off. You know, that they had issues for sure. So, I mean, and if it is a huge issue, they'll just trade Draymond and still win the championship. So
there's no way they're trading Draymond. Nah, I'm not with that.
If they come to blows in the locker room, you never know.
That's hilarious, because somebody I know is in the comment section is going to say, you had an issue with them saying that they're going to trade Draymond, but not Anthony Davis. One's actually proving themselves, you know?
Availability. He can't have an impact if he's not out on the court. God, it's so bad right now.
What about this new look Chicago team with Levine, DeRozan? I mean, I know Vooch is here, but this is another guy who he shoots threes. He would be a lumbering 4, but he has played the 4. Like, he's done center, power forward, he's got a history of doing it. I think he would do well on this team as well. I just don't know. There's too much.
I feel like it'll be a little clunky, but
there's not enough ball to go around. I feel like that would be the main thing.
I feel like he'd be ruining a lot of what Chicago's already got going for them. I mean, from a talent standpoint, obviously they'd still be really good. But like the Warriors, if you put them on the Warriors, they don't have to play the way the Warriors typically play, and they could still win. Yeah. Like with the Warriors, they could literally just become the inside-outside, Dwight Howard Magic, and they probably still win the championship. They don't have to make all those hockey assist passes, just inside, outside. With this team, there's so many different pieces. DeMar DeRozan's having an awesome year, but I mean, he's being allowed to do his thing and kind of take the lead on that, and Wilt would definitely mess with that. I don't know. Like you said, clunky, maybe a little too clunky.
Yeah.
Wilt and Ja, that would be like highlights.
So I have the Grizzlies up right now. John Morant, for whatever it's worth, we haven't talked too much current basketball on the podcast for this season, but John Morant's my new favorite player in the league. Like, he's easily one of my 5 favorite guys to watch. Another league pass legend. Like, I love watching Ja. And Bill Simmons compared him to young Michael Jordan, saying like how he does stuff on a nightly basis that make you go, fuck, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah. Okay. From that standpoint, I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I could totally get what he's saying. This guy's mentality is badass. I like the way he attacks the game. And just like with you can't tell me what to fucking do attitude. Like, we're gonna be one of the best teams in the league. I don't care if we're in Memphis. Like,
and also best braids in the league. Like, did you guys see his All-Star braids? Yo, my man swag.
That man turned the fuck up.
If I had braids, I would do Ja braids for sure.
That boy got shit-faced.
Might not look the same, on the way to Cleveland. I'm doing it.
He got fucking drunk as fuck. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, that was
wild. All kinds of video came out from his plane where he's drinking like crazy. Good for him, man. But another team that we've mentioned here that doesn't have a obvious center. They have Steven Adams, but it would be fine if Steven Adams didn't start. I don't think he'd be butthurt. I don't think he'd be butthurt about it. Doesn't seem like that type of guy. And putting him next to Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, and John Morant, that's a solid 5. That is a solid starting 5. I really like that.
Steven Adams would definitely just have to be traded because he wouldn't be necessary anymore. If Wilt's averaging 40 minutes a game, he's not.
Yeah.
You're never going to play Wilt and Steven Adams at the same time.
Yeah, that would be difficult from a spacing standpoint.
So for those 2 minutes of the season that Wilt misses because he was ejected, Steven Adams comes in and holds it down.
Yeah, comes in, eats a kiwi, chilling out there.
Oh my God. What about the Mavs?
With Luka?
Luka.
Yeah. What about
Luka
the Mavs?
Legend. With
I feel like him and Wilt would be like this. Honestly, I don't know if they get along. Yeah,
because Luka's so ball dominant. Like, I don't know if Wilt is gonna be okay with that.
And Luka's not. I could see a world where Luka is kind of selfish. Like, I'm not saying he's the most selfish player in the league, but I am saying he gets really mad at teammates. He's. And I don't know how Wilt handles that. That was kind of my worry with Chris Paul. I didn't mention it, but it's the same thing with Chris Paul. Chris Paul is kind of like a drill sergeant. That's why all those young kids work with Chris Paul, is because they hold him to such reverence and the whole kind of
But the thing with Chris,
yes, thank you, hierarchy. Yeah,
the thing with a Chris Paul and even a Kobe or whatever, the people with that mindset, the reason they're like that is because to them you have to work. Like, if you're not working hard, they're gonna hold you accountable. Wilt is one of those, and this is, I think we talked about this on the pod before with Kobe with the Kobe and Shaq thing. Like, if Wilt was there instead of Shaq, it would have worked out significantly better in our opinion, or at least my opinion, because Wilt you didn't have to worry about Wilt's work ethic. Like, you knew he was gonna work hard, you knew he was gonna do what he had to do. He didn't do anything possible to score and stuff, and I feel like that is something Chris Paul would appreciate.
Yeah.
There is this small circle of people that do say that Wilt Chamberlain, and a lot of them seem like they're the older ones who are actually aware of, watching and such, but they say that Wilt Chamberlain was almost kind of like a Randy Moss type player, to where if he wasn't feeling it, he wouldn't always go out there and give it 100%. Now,
I could absolutely see that.
Yeah, I mean, I can from a certain. Yeah, but when you're putting up 50 rebounds, 50 points and 25 rebounds, like what does that even look like? A 40-point night? Like,
well, yeah, but he was motivated.
To make sense of that.
He was absolutely motivated as fuck during this particular year. I feel like that.
So maybe that's later part.
There's because I could see older, chunkier Wilt Chamberlain, like definitely taking his foot off the gas. I could
once he's in Hollywood and he's just thinking more about his Conan movie than maybe basketball.
Yeah, and and the 10 women that are in his bedroom waiting for him to get there. I feel like absolutely it would be something where basketball probably becomes second place to vagina. Like,
but the first 7-8 years in his career, I'm thinking Will is probably working pretty hard.
But and also similar to Johnny's point, like think about and actually to both your points, when you're going up against guys who, when you're up here from an athleticism standpoint and you're consistently going against guys that might be down here, what is not trying so hard? Like, what is that? Like,
right, Johnny? When you're going against, guys who are much less athletic than you. Like,
not every single guy was.
No, it's fine, Russ. We heard what you said. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm going against my nephew who's 13.
That's not what I said. I did not say that.
Oh my God.
How big is your nephew, though? Is he as tall as you?
He's like 5'6". I'm like only
because here's the thing. I will give you athleticism argument all day because I can't objectively prove you wrong. I can't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I can respect your opinion. But if you said, he was going up against 6'5" centers, dude, we have the receipts, okay?
Yeah,
the average size of a center back then was 6'10". I'll fight you on size. It's 6'10" plumbers.
Were they not big plumbers?
Have you ever taken apart a toilet? Have you ever fucking taken apart a toilet? It is hard work.
Excuse me, Mr.
Hard.
This is clear.
Sinks and freaking changing steps in people's houses and carpenters and all this stuff. Like you were playing. These people had actual full-time jobs.
You know who else did that?
Hold up. You've made it so clear that you still live with mommy and daddy, okay? Because if you had ever called a plumber on your own, you would know that they're not freaking 6'10". They don't look like Nate Thurmond or Bill Russell or Walt Bellamy. Those dudes aren't plumbers typically, okay? They'll have other jobs.
Maybe not a plumber, but some type of repairman.
Oh my God!
Think about it. They don't need ladders. They don't need ladders.
Yeah, he's working in retail. He can reach the high shelves. Okay? Yeah, there you go. But he's not a plumber.
All right, so changing light bulbs and stuff.
So we got so let's go Dubs. Are we happy with the Dubs?
Yeah, I'm Dubs. Yeah, I mean, this is
they're dominating. They could play 5 different styles of basketball and they'll dominate each.
Now I go back to the 5 games.
Yeah,
any
4.
team. Yeah,
4. They're sweeping.
No, I feel good about that. The Phoenix Suns are like a pretty good team. I think they'll at least win a game.
DeAndre Ayton is getting fucking 45 and 15 on his face.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure.
Absolutely. Fucked.
And Chris Paul, Stephen Curry is his kryptonite. So
that, that's a fact. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, but I'm giving them 1 game.
No series is going more than 5.
Yeah, that's a fact.
For sure.
I'll go first for this one. I'll take Wilt. I think Wilt gets. This is a world where I could see Wilt getting up to that 40 points per game, with all the extra passing and the ball movement and the efficiency that the people around him shoot the ball with. The shot attempts don't bother me as much because I think that they're going to be more efficient with their shot attempts. So I think I would take Wilt getting closer to the 40 and maybe less rebounds because I don't think there's as many rebounds to go around on a team that makes more of their jump shots. I'll say 40, 15, and he's controlling all of the paint on this team. Draymond's 6'7", and never he played small ball 5 for them obviously, but it wouldn't be a problem in terms of position and where people would be laid out.
How many rebounds he's getting? You said?
I said 15. I said 20 for the Celtics, so I'm saying 15 here for sure. At 3 blocks, and he's shooting 60%.
Golly, Draymond Green's the leading rebounder on this team.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's gonna be getting so many rebounds.
He's definitely going to get some. I think the reason why there's a low amount of rebounds on this team is because of how well they shoot the ball. Like the ball goes in, you can't get the rebound.
Also the threes.
I mean, their percentage is not that much higher than the rest of the league, to where it's like
that's fair. Yeah. But not anymore. Not anymore. They used to be. Definitely not anymore.
I think it's just there's a reason it's Curry. For the majority of the season, he was averaging six rebounds a game, and then he just started slowing down. But it was because of the long threes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm not giving him 40. There's no way. I think there's no the one Steve Kerr wouldn't allow a Wilt Chamberlain to come in, get 40, and then what is Steph gonna get? Like Steph is no matter what, Wilt or not, Steph is the engine that runs that team. No matter what team, whatever player, you can have any greatest player of all time. You put him in this Warriors team, Steph is the engine that makes this
They would
run.
trade Wilt before they'd let him ruin Steph.
Facts.
Yeah, that's true. But one point on that. The one thing about Wilt that I didn't mention on this particular team over other teams is Wilt ever going to get a double team? Like, it's going to be really hard to double off these great shooters. And which leaves Wilt one-on-one all the time.
They're going to play the math game, for sure.
And that puts Wilt's points up mucho.
Draymond Green will be open 24/7.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Send Draymond's guy.
We need 2016 Draymond to come back and hit more threes again.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to give Wilt the same 32.
Okay.
I think he's going to be done a little differently. Not in terms of how he's going to score it, but how the ball's going to get to him and stuff. Maybe a little more similar, but 32. I'm doing the same stat line. I don't know because of the threes. The threes are a little different for this team. No, I'm gonna go 32-15 because I think he gets less threes with this team versus that Celtics team because I think the Celtics team is just gonna miss more threes. So
less rebounds.
More
less
of a
rebounds.
chance. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did I say less threes?
Yeah.
My bad. I didn't realize. Less
very
rebounds.
Confusing.
You guys are probably just like 18 rebounds. 18 threes. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, 18 rebounds. Sorry. I'm keeping the 3 blocks because the whole thing with Wilt and probably everybody was wondering why does everybody just keep saying 3 blocks? It's because throughout his like career they didn't do the whole blocks thing, but
probably
when he
more.
did. Yeah,
I said 4.
Probably was,
I said 4 blocks.
Yeah. So he probably is going to do more than 3. But 3 is like really high for a center right now, right? Or for any player.
It is. Right now, very high. Yeah.
Because I think they're only at like 2 point something a game.
No, I think somebody's got 3 right now. I saw, we saw Miles Turner with 2.8.
I don't know what the current high is, but 3 is a lot in this era.
Yeah,
2.3.
Yeah, like Gobert is putting up 2.3 right now. Like in the 90s.
Yeah, but he only played
Robinson and Mutombo and stuff. Well, what did he get last year? What did Gobert get last year?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, because he's like 2.
Just click on Gobert.
Because David Robinson, Dikembe Mutombo, Hakeem Olajuwon, all like Gobert type rim protecting centers. They were averaging like 4 to 4.5 blocks in the 90s. So
they were, and it's because way more people were taking shots closer to the rim.
Right.
That's at least my from looking at it. That was the biggest thing I noticed during Jordan's legacy breakdown when we were looking through the mid 90s and that dominant era. It's just like the shots and the positioning of all the guys are very scrunched. It feels like way more scrunched. It's also because of the rules too.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they're making it a lot easier for guys to get clean looks.
Very true.
I mean, like, with the ways, like, what's defined now as a gather step, it's so loose that, like, you can get yourself out of so many situations that would have been called traveling back in the day.
Just traveling. That's what it really is.
And even the step back jumper, dude. Like, the step back jumper to
Harden
me.
messed that up.
That should be your go-to move in an isolation game-winning situation all the time. Like, why every dude doesn't just step back, leap back a few feet, and then just shoot a jumper over the top? That's so hard to defend. And you just didn't have guys doing that back in the day. You had to do like a fadeaway or something.
surprised nobody ever thought about it like that, though. I'm surprised nobody ever thought, hey, I get 2 steps for a layup. Why can't I get the 2 steps for a jump shot? Because that's what it is. It's essentially just the same thing, but instead of going forwards, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Did it take me a while? Euro. Did it take me a while to accept that? Yes. I was not happy about the step back when I first saw it, but when I started to think about it, that is what it is. Like,
but the whole thing is
to gather
is when, like with a layup, you can't jump with both feet, and that's what they're doing kind of with the step back, that stupid step back 3 thing. Is you're jumping back and then you're letting both feet plant and then coming back again, which is a travel. And if you're doing it as a layup, it's a travel. If you did it that same way.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. I think back in the day, they just would have called it.
Yeah, that's a travel. It is a travel. They're trying
there's a couple of, like, if you go on YouTube, you can find like rudimentary versions of it where you can see a couple of people doing it. I remember I saw Jordan do it for one particular thing from the mid-range, and I was really surprised. For sure. I mean, it does exist. And
Reggie Miller did it too, but I mean, it was very few and far between. Because if you tried to milk that all the time, like, dude, they'd crack down on it. It's just it's different now. Because, like,
that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's fair. All right. Did everybody give their stats? Are we good?
I don't think Johnny did.
Yeah, go.
So the funny thing about the Warriors is I actually have the opposite interpretation as Russell. I think I'm going to give him the least amount of points on this team. Okay. Partially just because Wilt, we've established Wilt is an egomaniac. We all know that. But I don't think he's an idiot. And, like, the 72 Lakers, when they just dominated, with Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, and they steamrolled the league. They won 33 straight games. Wilt focused primarily on rebounding and defense.
I was now the defensive hub of this team, and that was what my job was all about, getting the ball and playing defense and giving the ball to these guys. So it just kind of all worked out really, really well. And as we meshed, we amassed numbers that were unbelievable.
Sure.
I think if he knows he's got the 2 best shooters in the league in the perimeter, and this team's already just a dominant team, I just can't see him being that dumb where he's going to come in and try to ruin it and just try to be the entire offense. Like, I think he's going to see what the team needs of him, at least a little bit.
You know what I just thought of? Imagine the first practice he gets there with the Warriors. Sees Steph make 80 or 90 out of 100 threes, and just looks at him and goes, "Are you from Earth?" Like,
right. If you brought him through a time machine,
that's what I'm saying. If he jumped out of the portal and saw Steph Curry, I think that might, like, affect him. Like, to your point, like, I think that would affect, like, because I don't think he's seen anybody who could fucking shoot the ball like that. Maybe he would look at it and do the whole, because, through interviews past his prime, he always defended the guys from the 60s more than anything. Like, he was very big on that in interviews, like in the 80s and the early 90s. But I just think Steph is one of these, like, we may look back 25 years from now and say nobody changed the game of basketball more than Steph Curry. Like, that could be the case. I'm not saying it will, but it could be. And I think, to your point, Will would be crazy to not notice that, but his ego would definitely be like, yeah, but I'm still scoring more than him.
I think there would
still getting more buckets than him. Fuck him.
I think there'd be a part of him that's like, I need to get this guy the ball. I think there's a part of it. I'm not saying he's going to become a facilitator, but I think he's saying, like, dude, if that double team comes, I'm tossing it to this guy.
Yeah, that's fair. Or the guy next to him. The guy next to him. You're telling me someone broke my record for points in a quarter? Who broke it? This fucking guy over
here. Right, exactly.
It's not the guy just... Yeah.
I just think he would be.
And he never dribbled. Like what?
like all because obviously Wilt Chamberlain cared about the narratives they said about him.
Yeah.
He cared about the fact that people called him a ball hog. If he didn't, he would have never changed his game. Fair. But he felt like he had to become a facilitator and lead the league and facilitate in assists just to prove that wrong.
Yeah.
So now with more media and with everything that's going on in the game today, and Wilt Chamberlain comes in and he just totally screws up the Warriors offense because he's so selfish, you don't think he's going to adapt a little bit? Like, dude, he totally would. Like, so anyway, I'm going to knock his points per game down to like 35. I don't know. I just
from the beginning, I was like, I promise you it's not going to be less than 35. Because I'm like, I know.
I don't even know. I just want to put some high number up just to get Dario going. Okay. He probably isn't playing 48 minutes on the Warriors. I'll give you that.
This is the one team you've decided. Steve Kerr.
It's
little Stevie Kerr.
Man.
It's the Celtics. We literally had the Celtics organization. It's probably like besides it's Celtics Lakers.
Stevie Kerr standing up to Wilt. You're not playing more than 40 minutes a game, Wilt.
But that's the
fuck you, buddy.
But no. I think that's what you're missing. It's not so much about the coach. To me, it's not so much about the coach. It's more about Wilt looking around, like what he's got around him, and going, dude, this is a well-oiled engine. I'm not going to totally destroy this. Because he didn't have that in the early 60s. Remember that. He wasn't on the early 60s Celtics. He was on the early 60s Warriors, 76ers, that sort of thing. And now, again, he had some help for sure.
Yeah.
But the help he had was not the same help that Bill Russell had. And anybody who was from that era acknowledges that. And if he was on that Celtics team, he might have been a different player to a certain extent. He's not becoming Bill Russell, but I think he's probably feeling of being a little bit less selfish, I would say. So, I would say probably, we'll say 40 minutes, 28 to 30 points. He's getting 16 to 17 rebounds. Because there's no big rebounders here. And I think he's getting close, seriously, I think he's getting close to 5 blocks now. Because you're getting a dude who's even more focusing. Yeah, he's just channeling his energy to specific areas. And
that's true, because KD, when KD played, like his defense got significantly better because he didn't have to waste as much on the offensive end.
I mean, that's such a good shot blocker.
That's true of a lot of players. Even Kawhi Leonard recently, once he became a great offensive player, he started giving up a little bit on his defense. So like guys just channel their energy certain places, and it can have a big impact.
I was about to say, if you'd listened to Dario over the last 2 fucking years on the show, you'd know that. This guy never shut up about that. When it was happening in the moment.
Well, it's because I literally saw, we compared him to my GOAT, and my GOAT didn't do that, so sorry.
He did a little bit.
When he got older, Kawhi Leonard's like 27 years old, and
for
like,
sure.
Kobe at 27 was a freaking.
Yeah, Kobe at 27 was averaging 35 in first-team All-Defense, which is the only player to have ever officially average over 35 and be first-team All-Defense. Don't say 88, Jordan. He averaged 34.98. Okay, that's not 35. They just rounded up on the website.
And I want to say something. Now that we on this podcast, and I know that at least Johnny's fans gonna watch this, so I need to acknowledge this right now, and you guys could be mad at me later. Jerry West, the greatest general manager of all time, when he had to pick his very first player off of that draft board, who'd he pick?
Let's move on. Second pick here in the first round for Jerry West.
Kobe Bryant. I watched the genius of him as a player, and along with his cohort, Mr. O'Neal, who I had the pleasure of being around a long time, one of the scariest 2 players to play the game, and they played completely different. Great combination.
Don't worry.
LeBron
James.
Make it
a little easy for you guys. Huh?
That was a great. I'm just happy that he was involved in that.
I don't even care, man. I'm just saying.
They did an ultimate draft.
He picked 11-year-old LeBron James, or
they did
9-year-old LeBron James, whatever.
I'm just saying, they know when the greats start talking about basketball, they talk about Kobe. All of them. So for all of y'all, Kobe's not a GOAT. Yeah, hold that.
He's definitely a GOAT.
This had nothing to do with Wilt Chamberlain, but I needed to throw that in just so y'all.
I'll piggyback off what you said. I'm okay with Kobe not being in the GOAT conversation if Duncan's not in the GOAT conversation.
Facts.
But if you want to put Duncan in there and you're not going to put Kobe on there, like, to me, I don't.
Y'all drunk. Y'all drunk on that Henny.
That's a
that Henny slushy too. Like y'all left Henny in the freezer for like 48 hours and just been drinking that straight.
Yeah.
Bugged out.
But this was fun. This was fun. This was fast, sort of.
Was it fast?
Fucking. But for Apex Greatness, I'm Russell Broderick. That's Dario Albuquerque. Between us is Mr. Johnny Arnett. Thank you once again for coming on.
Always fun.
For your birthday. Super nice.
Yeah. I'm always wait. Happy birthday to you.
Stop. You're going to get copyright claims.
To you.
Happy birthday.
You're going to get a copyright strike. Just please stop by any means necessary.
Not with my bad singing. They ain't going to copyright shit.
They won't know.
I don't want this to even be associated with me.
Completely out of tune. Off camera is the fairy pop mother Lindsay Lehman. And we are saying peace. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content. We have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.